What is up, y'all? And welcome to this episode of Impromptu Debate You, Season 1, Episode 7. But the topics have yet to come because we are heading over to Discord to see if we can have some counter-apologetic fun. Along with, whatever subject comes up. Theology, science, how long is the girl deck? So won't you join us for an impromptu good time? Woohoo! That is right. Welcome, everybody. Moonlight is also here to help us say hi, and I'm sure other cats will come on by. But I hope that you are all having a good time. Please don't forget, if you're out there on the tubes, don't forget to like, because it sends us out into the internet and gets even more people to have fun with us, as well as follow at twitch.tv/Amy Newman Skeptic. And thank you, Beamsy. Thank you, Beamsy. And our membership. You can subscribe right down there at YouTube at youtube.com/Amy Newman. In fact, if you hit that bell icon to all, it allows you to get reminders to see our premieres or join our live streams. Like, what is up, everybody? What is up, Simos? Woohoo! Thank you so very much. Subscribe, love. What is up, Krish and the Muslim Apologist and Doorknob Head and Aubrey and everybody? We are about to, at least I'm about to be heading off into the Discords. They may have gotten rid of the Counter-Apologetics channel on politics and religion. Not 100% sure. I was looking. I may head to the politics religion this episode, and then maybe on the next I'll go back and forth. I like both servers. Boo-doo-boo. Chris is asking, if you don't mind me asking, why did you leave Judaism? I left Judaism because I was not interested in religion. When I was a teenager, I was way more fascinated in Game Boy than I was in theology. And the same was with being artistic and all sorts of things. I like technology and art. It was very hard to motivate me to care about the Torah. Now, I'm way more interested in it now. I would actually take like the free trip that Israel offers you. However, I guess I'd have a little bit of a confliction because I don't view myself as Jewish anymore. What is up, Nine Tails? You'll debate me. That's fantastic. Well, I'm going over to the Discord, though I've never had one where I've had just invite someone on. I guess I could always do that if someone wanted to actually debate me. I guess I could give them a StreamYard link. What is up, Muslim Apologist? Trying to join if I can get my setup organized. Well, that's fantastic. I would love to have a debate with you and hope that you're doing well. I am very happy that I left my religion. I think that I can be an ambassador as an ex-Jewish person, kind of maybe convince people to go away from religion. Unfortunately, Judaism is what gave us Christianity and Islam, Mormonism, which I call Jews in space. gotta have way more fun once you're out there in the galaxy. And I'll say, what's the topic? We're about to find out, because the topic is whatever people want to talk about in this episode. I'm probably going to hang at the Discord server, see if I can pull anybody in. However, I've had some people that just say they want to debate me. So I'm like kind of tempted to just throw a StreamYard link. Just because why not? Like, I'll throw this in the chat just in case. This isn't really for atheists or agnostics, but I guess if you're a theist, come on by and maybe we'll have a conversation. And then if nobody joins in a few minutes, then I'm going to go as the plan was written, which is go over to Discord. Because I have spent so much time in text chat. He gave me my chair back. Yes, I get my chair. Aha! And in fact, let me let him out. Cats like to roam. But what is up, everybody? I sent out a StreamYard link in case, like, a Muslim apologist, or I saw someone else. Nine Tails. I don't know what we disagree. I want to debate a science denier. Well, I believe the Earth is round, that it's 4.5 billion years old, that the diversity of life came from evolution, that abiogenesis is the leading hypothesis in science, along with the Big Bang cosmology being the leading theory in science. The Earth is getting warmer because of the carbon that we're using. Hopefully we'll switch to electric. Yeah, you sound like a skeptic. Okay, we may actually agree with each other too much. But that's okay. Because we're going to head over to Discord and we'll find some people. We'll find some people who disagree. Judaism and Islam makes the most sense. Can I tell you, Krish, that tends to be the Islamic recruitment method. What they do is they go, let's get you to deism. Let's do the Kalam. And let's get you to admit that everything that begins to exist needs a cause. Science doesn't say this. There's nothing within physics, especially once you get into quantum mechanics. But it really sounds fancy. And so why not just admit that everything that begins to exist has a cause? In our causal life, it makes a lot of sense. And once they do that, they go, okay, now that you believe in a first cause, let's talk about what that first cause is. It has to be some sort of mind. It has to be a mover, a prime mover, even though they use movement in a completely different way than we mean movement. They mean movement as in like a physical action instead of just like moving. And so once you get that, they go, okay, well, we got Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Let's talk about how silly Christianity is. They generally go into the Trinity, which does sound silly if you're coming from a non-Christian worldview. And so they go through the resurrection, and they go through why the Trinity is nonsense, and they go to what I would call that dichotomy that you were giving. The Judaism or Islam. Christianity's obviously been corrupted. So are we going to go old school, or are we going to go towards the newest version? And so they try and sell you on, yeah, see, pure monotheism. Yeah, exactly. See, you try it, you're like, it's the Trinity. It's the three gods. But this is what I mean. They do that this is their pipeline. It's Kalam. It is, let's talk about a prime mover. Let's talk about why Christianity's silly. Let's talk about why there's only Judaism versus Islam. And now let's talk about why Islam is the final fulfillment of the prophecy and why Judaism has been corrupted. And then they get you to Islam. Boop, 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 boop. That doesn't make sense to me. Also, what's up, Mark? Hello, 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 hello. You say goodbye, I say hello. Forgot half the lyrics for a second. But saw Mark and Leo last night doing the debate on modern day debate. Having a lot of fun in that flat earth debate. James and myself were just having like popcorn moments because I try and stay very neutral. What's up, Math Pig? That's right, afternoon. Holy moly. I have to stay on this side. If I get too close to that like energy source, I start to burn. So I got to stay away. But yes, I was enjoying it so much because they went all in on God, which when I joined, like the guy was giving his opening statement and was like, and that's why they hate Jesus. I'm like, okay. Or a creator God or whatever he was saying, really. And that's why I normally try and bait them into that, because that is what I think is their actual reason for believing in a flat earth, is Jeebus or a creator or something like that. And they just said the quiet part out loud last night. So good job to both of you, both Leo and Mark. I thought you did amazing. And yeah, sends in love. Oh, Nine Tails, not at all, not a tease. I enjoy it. I enjoy it. God equals the square root of 1. What's up? In a second, though, I can't really bait too much more or shill. Oh, well, speaking of shilling, you can support the channel. We have Twitch subscribers. We have YouTube membership right down below. Almost got pulled out of the Matrix, it looked like for a second. We have our evolving badge system, which triggers the creationist. Whenever a creationist tries to go on this other version of evolution, that's what was trying to go on last night, the night before, and that's where they get it from Kent. The 6 versions of evolution, or 6 versions of evolution, when there's biological evolution. Now, there is such thing as cosmic evolution, but it is physics. It's a completely different subject and not to be conflated. They like to do that because they know no one is going to be like a physicist and a biologist and a geologist. They're not going to be all of these experts. And yet, when you have a degree from University of Basement, oh, you can talk about all of them. You can just tell all of these PhDs how silly they are for pushing their religion on children, or as we call it, middle school science. Generally, middle school science. Flat Earth, Flat God. Yeah. What's up? 0125AR and Nitty and Brian Stevens and Anita and everybody. That's right. Doctor, give me the news. He's Dr. Kent Hoven. He's got 3 PhDs. Some people are more trained. That's right. Even me. It is amazing to have such an experienced YouTuber. Oh, that's right. He got kicked off of YouTube. He has like his church's channel now. Good luck with that. To be honest, most atheists are becoming Muslim. I would like to see that. I think it's the next battle is going to be Christianity fading away. I think it's going to be Islam versus atheism. I think we are the next two flavors up to bat. And I'm a little biased. I'm just saying the track record of non-religion versus religion. I don't know. Recently, it's just non-religion gaining. Do you know what the #1 downloaded book in Saudi Arabia, illegally downloaded book, of course, because you can't buy it? The God Delusion. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Gives me hope. I'm sorry for it. It was either a cold that I'm getting over or allergies that are beginning. But hopefully it won't be too bad, as we're going to go in here. Not only should you check out Better Than Ever, you should be checking out Mark Reid, Atheism. Woo! What's up, UC Love? That's right. Common sense is slowly gaining ground. Because I think as soon as you have education, as soon as you have people who care about separating fact from fiction in institutions, then you're going to get secularism, which isn't atheism. But Jerry, welcome. I used to get, that was all I would get in like elementary school, and I never knew what it meant because I didn't watch Seinfeld at the time. But now I kind of love it. Ooh, I like Labyrinth too. The new anime adaptation. Gotta love them sparkles. What's up, Peebo? Also, sending love to Peebo. And sending love, I think we're going to go into politics, into the religion. The thing is that there's so many people in religion. Oh, no, there's no one in religion. Fantastic. So then let's go in there and have some fun begin. As we join the politics religion server, I'm over here on. See, I was going to do PNR, but I couldn't find the counter apologetic server or channel. I may go back to them anyway because I like going back and forth. I like both those servers, and I'm going to send you guys the channel. This is discord.gg/politics. And there it is. I'll pin it as well. And I'm going to keep talking if no one joins. Because that's kind of, I just blab.
9/11 was an inside job, folks. 9/11 was an inside job. Everything you've told about the world is a lie. Operation Northwoods, Operation Paperclip. Everything you've been told about this is a lie. The Illuminati run the world. That's all I have to say, folks. I'm out. Peace. And Yakub made the white race.
So, actually, jet fuel weakens steel beams, and so it wasn't an inside job. Not only was it an inside job, but the people who claimed 9/11, it was religious. It is one of the pillars of why we should be an anti-theist. Osama bin Laden is quoted as having said that he is doing it for his Muslim brothers and sisters. And so it's actually intellectually dishonest, intellectually weak, if we were just to say that it's an inside job, because the people who actually did it actually took credit for it. It's why we should be against religion. It's why we should be against fundamentalism. We shouldn't just let them off the hook. And so, yeah, we need to not be prejudiced towards Muslims, but we do need to go after these religious views where they are the most extreme.
So with 9/11, I was being truthful, but I was kind of trolling. With 9/11, we got the Patriot Act. We got justification for them to go into the Middle East. We got what else did we get? Larry Silverstein did an insurance policy before it happened. There's so many things. There was a guy, William Cooper, that was talking about how 9/11 was going to happen before it even happened, and they killed
I would
him.
like
I
to see
mean,
evidence for that, because it's just like when religious people say
or
that there's
Bill Cooper.
prophecies.
Bill Cooper. It's the evidence is in voice links. It's in voice links. His name is Bill Cooper. It's like he did the prediction. It's in voice links. I didn't post it.
There'd be a terrorist attack on America.
And
Yeah,
also,
no, he told you that 9/11 was going to happen before it
just
happened.
because they were able to use a political advantage, like invading a different country, doesn't mean that the religious fundamentalists weren't the ones who hijacked people and then, because of their lack of fear of death, killed themselves.
Well, the religion. See, this is the problem with atheism, right? Atheism relates. I'm not a religious person. I'm spiritual, right? So I don't believe in any of the Abrahamic religions, but I am a spiritual human being. I don't believe in nihilism, and that's what a lot of atheists believe in. And I will tell you this, right? You cannot have atheism in a society and the society run correctly. Because what we have in America right now, a lot of people are atheists. People are shitting in the streets in San Francisco. People are getting beat up on buses. People are laughing at people dying in the streets. It's just a very, very immoral society that we live in. And a lot of that was caused by atheism. Now, are Christians wild?
No,
Yeah, the Christians are very wild. Judaism is very wild, and Islam is very wild. But we need to replace religion with some sort of spiritual. No, with spirituality. We need to replace it with spirituality. So people need to understand that we come from the stars. Okay, when you die, you become a star. You're not dead. Okay, we are made up of energy, and energy cannot be killed or destroyed. You know, that's why when you die, you leave bones. Your bones, you can dig up people's bones, and they'll still be there. When people go graveyard digging, if you ever go into a graveyard and dig up some dead body, you'll find bones in that casket. Let's say they buried your great grandfather in the casket, you'll find his bones in the casket. That's how you know if somebody stole somebody's body, because when you dig up the grave and there ain't no bones in there, you know somebody stole your father or your mother or your grandfather when they passed. So, you know, that's one important thing. Bones, they stay on you forever. So, yeah. What do you have to say about that, Amy? Well, that's what I mean. Like, if you're just as an atheist, right? You think this is it, right?
I'm so sorry.
But I think the fact that we leave something behind shows that there's got to be some proof of some higher power out there.
But wait, eventually won't the universe just frost over and there'll be no more energy that can be extracted from it?
Well, that's if you believe in the Big Bang Theory.
Just had to say, I told him that fossils are very hard to create because of how erosion, weather, because of water. We are not nihilists. We generally actually want to make life better for each other, and we want to live life happily.
I got it muted on YouTube.
Sorry, no, I muted myself, and so I just wanted to tell my audience what I was saying.
I thought I got you. I got you muted for saying what I was saying. Because YouTube does that, right? When you tell the truth, when you start talking about 9/11 was an inside job, and Joe Biden stole the 2020 election, and you just start telling the truth about these things, you get, you know. Well, no, they're not. But the word conspiracy theory, the word conspiracy, number one, a conspiracy is actually a crime. Like if you look it up on online, you can be charged with
I
conspiracy.
was charged with conspiracy. I know.
Yeah. So I don't know why people throw this word conspiracy theory. Like that's the CIA made up the word conspiracy. Well, not made it up, but they use it so that people don't investigate the truth, right? So that's all it means. Like
So
when somebody says you're a conspiracy theory, like most conspiracy theories become true or are true. You know what I mean?
No, I don't think so.
So then why would a human being get tried at? Why would conspiracy be a crime then if it's not a real thing?
Because a conspiracy means that two criminals are working together.
So you don't think the
You come
government and
together
higher
to plot
power?
something nefarious.
Yeah. So you don't think so? If you can be charged as a individual as a of conspiracy, so why come the government can't commit a conspiracy? I mean, Operation Northwoods, Operation Paperclip, Operation
They can
Mockingbird.
commit
Yeah, why
conspiracies.
can't they?
They don't do conspiracy theories, crazy worldwide. So, for example, the Earth isn't flat. This is a conspiracy theory. It assumes.
Well, no.
vast
I'll tell you
entities are
about
working
the. I
together.
want to actually talk about flat Earth. This is what flat Earth did.
Okay.
So I don't believe in flat Earth. I believe in hollow Earth, right? So this is what they did. They controlled opposition to us. Okay, so here's how it works. So people were starting to look into hollow Earth, look into there's giants, look into why we can't go to Antarctica. Why there's every country has treaties in Antarctica and they never violate them, and a lot of it, they only scientists that they approve can go to Antarctica. So there was giants on this planet. There's reptilians on this planet. Queen Elizabeth is a
What?
reptilian herself.
What do you mean? She's dead.
She ain't dead, bro. That is a reptilian. I will post a video. That bitch can.
Reptiles can't die.
No. She shapeshifts. Have you ever seen a reptilian shapeshift, bro? Let me
Nope.
tell you, they will
Woo!
shapeshift, bro. You have no idea. Draconian
You're right.
reptilians
He does
exist.
it. He has no idea.
No idea about what.
About people being lizards.
No, dude. I mean, when you see a gecko, like, you ever see those videos? Like when I was a kid, there was those Geico commercials.
I was gonna say, I see them all the time. I save 15% on car insurance.
Yeah, I mean, lizards are real, man. When I was a kid,
I mean, lizards are real.
I've seen a few.
You are right.
yeah. So why come reptilians can't be real? And that's my thing,
Because we know of no sapien lizard people. I always love how they always look like humans too. They're always like they come from a galaxy far, far away, and they look basically like humans.
Well, they gotta blend in.
No, I mean like they're non-blending in version.
Hey,
Hi.
What's up?
good.
Not too much.
What
How
are
are
you talking about, bro?
We
What are you
can't.
talking about, bro?
You have a shit mic, man. You're in some theater or something's going on with you, man.
Okay, bro. I'm talking about the alien type.
Yeah.
Reptiles.
Yeah, we're talking about shapeshifters, man.
I think he's one of them.
Go ahead, bro.
Yeah. Are you working at?
What, bro?
Are you working in a call center right now?
Ooh.
No, bro.
Okay. I got a call. I remember I was in high
Did
school,
he say he was a troll?
and I had this talk with this IRS scammer, and he actually told me, and he proved it to me. So I just want to go over this for everyone listening on YouTube. The CIA, so the government, the United States government actually sells our information to these scammers so they can call us. So the U.S. government is totally in on these scams. Shout out to them.
Yes,
They're working
bro.
overtime to scam their own people. This is how great the U.S. is. They are working on scamming their own people. The IRS is a scam, folks. The Titanic was an inside job. So the reason why the Rothschilds sunk the Titanic
No
is
way
because
he's
the people
real.
on the Titanic, there was rich families on that Titanic, and I'll post a video, that opposed the Federal Reserve banking system. So they had to be killed in order for the banking system of the federal government to be installed.
Can I ask,
Why is Leonardo DiCaprio still alive then?
Because that was a movie. That's why.
Is there anything that you don't? Is there any conspiracy theory you don't believe in?
I'm a truth individual, man. I tell the truth, nothing but the truth, the solid truth. Everything is the truth.
What about Bigfoot?
I have a shirt on about
Big
Bigfoot.
fucking
I wear
shit.
it all the time. And here, I'm gonna post some 9/11 truth for you guys. If you want to look it out, I'll post it in voice links. Let's
you have
see.
to
I
go
got some
to
other
another channel.
good information. I just got my whole folder is a maze with
I don't like people flying defense for terrorists attack my country, but whatever.
What do you mean? The U.S. is the one that funds all these terrorist groups, like ISIS, that's funded by the U.S. government in Israel. Al Qaeda, that was made up by the U.S. and Israel. Like you do realize they need terrorists because they want you scared of everyone but them. They're the ones that are spying on you illegally, taking your information, falsely imprisoning people, locking people up for parking tickets. Like this is the government, dude. This isn't like ISIS or Al Qaeda doing
You're
this.
right, bro.
This is the USA, baby. Number one.
Number one.
In India, same thing.
Number one
Same thing is
at locking people up. Oh, here's another good 9/11. Here's another good 9/11 truther.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that I think he's trolling. It gives me just like a little bit more hope in humanity.
No, I'm posting everything. I said, fuck it, man. You're streaming on YouTube. I'm gonna post the truth today because we might go to World War III. So
that doesn't mean you're not trolling, even if I'm streaming.
So here's the thing. Here, I'm gonna post this one, right? So this is another good meme that I have as well. Hold on, let me post this. This is all in voice links. They deleted all my voice links because I was in there just spamming the truth in voice links. I got this one. What is this one?
Another reason they removed all.
Man, everyone's against you. Crazy.
I know. This is what happens when you tell the truth, dude. You know, those that speak the truth, you know, they get censored, they get harassed, their bank accounts get frozen.
What about
if you don't believe me, look what
they do the same.
Look what Justin Trudeau did to the Canadian truckers. I mean, he completely anyone who even donated to Canadian truckers, their bank accounts were frozen and shit. And what were the Canadian truckers doing? Saying we don't want the fucking poisonous jab for Mr. Gates. Okay, we understand Bill Gates is about eugenics. We understand his history. I can post a video about Bill Gates too if you want.
It's true.
Bill Gates is eugenics. His family helped set up the Planned Parenthood. Vaccines are poison. There's also a video, a website on my learntherisk.org.
Vaccines.
Learntherisk.org. Learntherisk.org. If anyone thinks I'm trolling, I literally have it on my profile. Go to learntherisk.org. Vaccines are totally bullshit. So here's what
Why should anyone be impressed that you have a bunch of videos and websites?
Dude, no. I just want to say this. The reason why polio and smallpox and all these diseases died is because of hygiene. People started taking showers. People started using soap. They started not smelling as bad. This is how people cure these diseases, right? Before clean water, I mean, people weren't showering. They were drinking in movies.
You said what? You didn't really address what I said. Ultimately, this speaks to the psychology of the conspiracy theorists. You just like to talk, and you want to have a lot of stuff to talk about that people haven't.
No,
heard
dude. I just
know things so much that no one can disagree with you.
Do you care at all about being interesting? Are you trying to be interesting?
Well, I'm telling you the truth.
Trying to take the attention right now. Yeah.
The truth isn't interesting, dude. The truth isn't interesting.
No,
I'm gonna blow my nose.
You're not talking about boring truths.
When I say wait, so when somebody says 2 plus
let me ask, what is your most boring conspiracy theory? What is it?
I don't have any boring. There are no boring ones.
Isn't that interesting? Isn't that crazy?
Wait,
that
so
you don't have anything that's true you believe in that's boring.
Wait, so is it weird if somebody says 2 plus 2 equals 4 and you're gonna be like, that's boring, dude? Why did you say that? Like, I'm just telling you the truth.
We could go into a lot of philosophy about numbers and what I could speak very long and boringly about 2 plus 2 equals 4.
Yeah.
And set theory and what makes something 2. How is something ever 2? I've never seen. We could do all sorts of shit that's boring. But that's the point. You don't care about boring truth stuff. You want to be interesting.
I'm not.
No one gave you enough attention as a child.
No, I'm not interesting. I just tell the truth, dude. See, you don't like the truth.
No, you keep saying that. No,
the truth is interesting. What's the problem?
Oh, here's it. Hey, Mohammed, you're gonna like this. You're gonna like this. Hold on, I'm gonna post this for you. Hold on. All right, look.
I don't think the truth is interesting. I think reality is boring.
Yo. So Amy, click at voice link. Show your chat that. Says Commander ISIS. They be a commander. I don't know how to say his name. Turns out to be Benjamin. I don't know how to say the last name. An Israeli national operating in one of Mossad special units. So this so-called ISIS member was just working for the Mossad, which was a if you don't know what the Mossad is, You can just look it up. The Mossad is
No, I
like
work
the
for
CIA
Mossad.
for
I know
this.
who they are.
They're the CIA for the Israeli government. So yeah, so a lot of these ISIS members are Mossad agents. So that's just confirming it. So yeah.
Oh, and you have a picture from Twitter that was shared from TikTok. So this is basically as good as a science journal.
I mean, it's the truth, bro. Why do you think that
Wait,
I'm kidding.
I thought that was a girl. Why does? Wait, is that a guy or a girl?
I'm a T girl.
You're a what?
A T girl. A transgender.
Ew, you're a tranny?
Yes.
Ew.
Wait, no, don't hijack. I'm listening. She's live streaming, so I have to tell the truth. Don't make this stuff about transgenderism and all that stuff. All right, so listen.
I fucking hate trannies,
No,
though. Like, why aren't they?
All right. Listen. We understand.
Your identity
we understand they're mentally ill. Okay, I'm not gonna debate you on that. So here's the thing, right? So
but
why? Because you can't win that debate.
Because he's talking about lizard people.
No. Or if you want to go into transgender, I will. So transgenderism was classified as a mental illness for the longest time. The only reason they unclassified it as not a mental illness is because we're moving into transhumanism. And if people can't even tell you what a human being is, what a mother and father is, what a son and a daughter is, then
you're talking about gender dysphoria.
Do you think you can be trans without suffering from that dysphoria?
I think if somebody like people have like schizophrenia, ADHD. There's a lot of mental illnesses in the world. We want to.
Do you think you can be trans without suffering from that dysphoria?
Being a transgender is a mental illness.
Yeah. We can help.
Society has normalized this.
We can help.
It was normalized for a long time. Just because you're a kid doesn't mean that it wasn't around before you were born.
So transhumanism has to do with extending your life. It has nothing to do with the whole sometimes thing is augmentation, but it has nothing to do with being transgender just because the word trans is in there.
No. Let me explain it. So the reason why they're pushing for it so hard is because number one, like I said,
you don't know any.
Let me finish. The elites worship these AI supercomputers, right? And they're gonna get ready for everything to be AI computerized. So they're gonna get basically robot. They want robots that are gonna have more rights than you. So this is a gateway into the transhumanism. They don't actually care
without suffering dysphoria.
No. They don't actually care about.
Do you want to answer that?
These people actually call you useful idiots. Like if you look up Henry Kissinger, he actually refers to you guys as useful idiots and useful eaters.
Yeah, but do you think you can be trans without suffering dysphoria?
No, because I don't believe in mental illness. I don't believe. I believe helping people that are mentally ill, but I don't believe.
You literally
just said you don't believe in mental illness.
Yeah, well, I misworded it. Listen,
I don't believe. You don't believe that mental illness exists?
No. See what you're doing. And you made the argument that previously it was a mental illness until.
Listen, what I'm saying is, so I believe in helping.
Mental illness is not real.
Listen. I believe in yes, it is. I believe in helping mentally ill. I believe in helping mentally ill people. I don't believe. Listen, can I finish? But I don't believe in playing with their fantasy, right? So if some guy, like let's say some grown man that's like 25, thinks that he's Superman or the Easter Bunny because he's mentally ill, I'm not gonna sit there and say, dude, you are Superman.
Or the
you
son
are
of
fucking
God.
Easter Bunny. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna play with his fantasies. I'm gonna tell him he's a freak and he needs fucking
What
help. And I'm
happens if
gonna tell him
someone were to
that.
tell you they were the son of God? Would you be like, hey, you are mentally ill?
Yes, I would. I would actually say that to him. Yes.
Every time.
All right. You should be telling this.
What if someone told you that?
Listen, me and Christians, I don't like Christians because number one, Revelations 2-9, they don't understand what it means, and number two, Christianity was just used to enslave your mind. Like I said, I'm spiritual.
Can I just point out? Can I point out that that's a common misunderstanding that Christ was considered the Son of God long after a lot of it was written, and we can blame St. Paul for that.
Indeed.
Fucking Paul.
Yeah, exactly. He's the biggest problem. Like he led to the reason why Christ was killed, and yet they worship Paul. It's really quite a weird thing. It's really weird. Y'all do have to realize that there are actual things that each side can criticize each other for. But when you say something like, "Oh my God, do you believe Christ was the Son of God?" Well, that's believe it or not, a common trope.
Listen,
because not all of them believe that. You don't have to believe in the deification of Christ to be a Christian.
But 97% of Christians.
If you want to know,
listen, I'm going to tell you.
The majority of them believe that Christ was just a prophet, kind of like Muhammad stated. Well, no, but
whoa, you talking shit, dude? You talking mad shit?
Actually, dude, the deification of Christ is not mandatory. Like it is to some mandatory to call yourself a Christian, but you can still follow. You know,
why are you putting all that on Paul?
Let me explain why.
What's going on, mate?
Let me explain.
Paul's a little fuck.
Let me explain the Abraham
Might
religion.
be a little fuck, but he ain't all that.
If you want to know the truth, about religion, the Vatican, right? And the vault of the Vatican.
100%.
No. I'm gonna shut up, bro. I'm gonna mute you if you don't quit trolling. I'm being serious. You're trolling. So here's the thing, right? So in the Vatican, they have a vault, and all that vault, they have hidden history of humanity. The reason why that's one of the most guarded places in history is because they don't want you to know there was giants on this planet. We're talking about huge giants.
Hollow Earth.
There was Draco, reptilians. There was all these things. If you don't
that's why we can't go to Antarctica.
If you don't believe me, bro, just ask about the Vatican.
Jordan Maxwell,
if you live
there's
in Italy,
a reason you're on Paramount, my guy.
if you, I don't care what you think. If you don't believe me, all you have to do is go to the Vatican, which is a little state in Italy, right? And then ask them about the vault. Ask them about the vault. Ask them about the vault.
Giants are not real. We have no fossils for giants.
If you really believe,
but then why can't we go to Antarctica?
You can't go to Antarctica. There's nothing stopping.
Why are you so dedicated to all these conspiracy theories? You're wasting all your energy.
It's just like spirituality. It kills his life. It gives him joy.
You're wasting all your energy memorizing all these things.
It's the only time the world came together and made a single treaty. Why do you think that is? Where they trying to hide? Literally oscill everywhere.
Just go to the Vatican and break into the vault and free us from the mind virus.
Yeah, they're gonna just let you go there and break in. Yeah. You're so smart, dude.
What foreign people don't know is that most of Australia is actually surrounded by the ice wall. There's only 1 million.
What you don't know is you can't just go into the vault. It's the most guarded place in history.
You can if you're Nick Cage.
You need a big raiding party to get in there.
Yeah, remember when the kids. I remember.
Fight your way into the vault.
Dude, let me finish.
Do it. Don't memorize this shit. Be the JJ.
When are the stupid Americans going to Naruto run Antarctica?
Remember when they were talking about how they were going to do the little run? I don't know, the Naruto run. I don't know. I don't watch anime, so they were gonna do that and the what is it?
Area 59.
Area 51, Area 51. Nobody did that, dude. Like, that place is a guarded place. Like,
no one done that? I saw videos of people Naruto running. Don't fucking lie to me.
So what I'm saying is these people
Antarctica
these are high guarded places. Like, it's the same things when Americans go to London and they try to go to Buckingham Palace and fuck with the Queen and fuck with the guards. And the guards beat their ass and arrest them. Like, nothing good comes out of that. So I mean, it's the same process.
At the end of the day,
except you can go to Antarctica and like be a tourist. You can climb. You can
but only certain. No. Antarctica.
People. You can go to Antarctica.
Well, I'm sure you have to get approval, so you don't just go there and fucking die, right?
No, you're not allowed to climb on Antarctica. It's Aboriginal sacred site.
Yeah. Speaking about that's another thing. We're not talking about Australia and Tasmania. That shooting that was a false flag to get Australians to give away.
What are your thoughts on the Emu War, Jordan?
On the what?
The Emu War.
The Emu War. Why did Australia lose two wars against the
Emus?
Because Australians are always drunk and obnoxious. I think that's why.
You gotta say, I guess, yeah. Okay.
So,
what do you think about the Emu Wall that Trump built on the southern border?
I think Trump is a Freemason. Trump is the Antichrist, and he was giving these conservative cucks a leader. But he's actually a bad guy, and he was actually funded by Soros.
Hang on, guys. You're all talking at once.
Like, the Emu Wall people on the southern border.
Nobody can hear a thing. Stop it. Stop. Nobody can hear a thing.
Well, I had to mute and incarcerate Trump because he was trolling me the whole time.
Speaking of Australia.
So I want to ask your question on the southern border.
Guys.
So the southern border.
Just chill. Let some people in, okay?
I love this guy.
Every single country in Europe. That would be so good.
Jordan,
Imagine
have you ever done
that.
stand-up? You'd be really good at it.
Can I finish about the border wall? He asked me about the border wall.
No.
Yes, you
Well, yeah,
can,
someone asked
Diego.
you about the Great
Yes, you
Emu
can,
War and
Diego.
your thoughts on the Great Emu War.
No,
which we
somebody
usually
asked me
don't
about
talk
the border wall, which is way more important.
No, the Emu War. The Emu War.
The Emu War.
So many people died.
Listen, I just want to say about the border wall. So it was a total failure because.
So how's your day been, anyway, guys?
Because
good, mate. How about you?
They're gonna just come in here
so
because
I've been hearing a lot of
emus on my way home from
and
work.
what I don't hear
What do you think about the
is
Great
actually an
Lowinger War?
explanation how anybody knows any of this stuff. So what I hear a lot with conspiracy theories is people just constantly chucking out a conspiracy theory. When you ask them how they know, they just move on to the next one.
No,
they don't actually
I have,
explain it all.
What do you want to ask
So
me
yeah,
how
that's
I know
what you're
about what?
doing, Jordan.
About what?
Yeah, so have you been to Antarctica to find out anything
No,
about it?
I'm not
Have you
allowed
been
to go.
Australia? Hang on, let me finish. Have you been to Australia to find out anything about it? Have you been to any of these places that you're talking about to actually find out anything about it?
Wait. Well, let me ask you the same question. So you're probably a guy who studies American politics, even though you haven't been there. You probably know a lot about America, even though you haven't been there. So I can use the same argument against you, buddy.
I don't. I know nothing about America.
I mean,
see, Muhammad, this is
I don't
why
know anything about
Muslims are
America.
taking over the West.
Why would
because
I haven't been to America?
Muhammad knows how to listen and understand, and he understands what I'm saying. You Australian
Muhammad
cunts.
is a
Us Australians
So
only speak the
you're
truth.
saying that not only can you go to
Muhammad
Antarctica, but you can go
married
to
a
America? Is that
6-year-old
what you're
girl
claiming?
whilst being in his
can go to
50s.
America.
Exactly.
He
So I don't know what
is
the
a
claim is.
paedophile.
Yeah, I don't know
No,
the claims
halal
either, because he's saying,
bakar.
hey, I can't go to Antarctica. I can go to America if I want. You know, it's not barred or anything. But neither is Antarctica.
You didn't understand the argument. So what I'm saying
I don't
is,
think you understand your argument.
no, what I'm saying is,
I don't think you're arguing and understanding.
What I'm saying is, so you probably, like I said, you have. I don't know if you've been to the States or not, but you probably know a lot about states, the politics, all that, but you haven't been here. So what I'm saying is, I was using your own, talking point against you. That's all I was doing.
So how do you know that you can't go to
His talking point is not.
Because I'm not a scientist and I'm unjabbed and I'm not. I was planning to travel all of Europe, right? Like the Eastern Bloc, Poland, Ukraine.
Hello, can you hear me?
And
Hello,
bonjour, I love you.
let me finish. So here's what happened to me. I was.
I don't like Muslims. Okay, saying mashallah,
oh,
and inshallah.
That's a UK hate speech, bro. That's a racist.
I don't like
You can have a preference against Muslims. That's
somebody send the police door right now.
one at a time.
Somebody send the British police.
Hold on, shut up. I'm gonna start muting. Shut up. I'm gonna start muting. Also, don't say the P word.
Timbers.
Okay, sorry.
What word, sorry?
Yeah, you fucking pop.
Anyway, like I was saying, it's pronounced Muslimi.
Listen, I just want to say that person just committed hate speech in the UK, and that's an arrestable offense in the UK.
Nigga, you have been talking about this whole time.
Yeah, but you're committing arrestable offenses in the UK. Are you aware of your hate speech?
You see, you're running out of breath, though, dude.
We're not in the UK.
The irony is, though, I could tell by Top T's accent that they're a Muslim.
Not cool.
Well,
look, Jordan,
you must really hate yourself.
Just look at his brain cavity. Just look at how big his brain is. He obviously won the argument, guys. Let's not even delve into this any deeper. I think it speaks for itself.
Yeah, I mean,
I think he hasn't.
You guys want me to go into
thanks for just Jordan, would you just stop over talking people? That would be great. He hasn't provided anything in the way of actually how he's substantiated any of his claims. He's just made these claims and proceeded on with it. All they do is throw out claims and then never actually back them up. They just move on.
If you go to voice link,
that's what Jordan has been doing all this time.
No, go to voice link.
Why does he need to go to voice links?
How dare you expect someone to back up the claims that they're making on the internet?
Oh, I know.
Voice link.
But if he had an understanding, he'd be able to explain it rather than just post a fucking link to everything.
Back up his claims. He thinks
everything I believe. I can post in voice links.
Hold on, to the other person that said, explain it. Come on, man. Expecting them to read the entire source that they're providing you and then give a concise report on it.
Stop yelling.
You might as well ask him to fucking pull cheese out of his fucking asshole. Honestly.
Well, I mean,
if he majority of these people that debate on there that actually understand what they're debating about.
I think we're asking a little too much from Jordan Maxwell. I think we all have an understanding of his mental capabilities. I think it's a little, we need to understand people like him.
Wait,
where's
the proof that giants exist in this hollow Earth of yours, Jordan?
Does he really believe that?
Yes.
Unfortunately.
Why do you think he's so agitated with him?
Many people seen the giants.
The only thing hollow is his brain.
So I'm reading the chat. Yes, like I was saying, I do own a passport, and I've been to Ireland. I went to Dublin in 2018.
Do you have a hollow brain, sir?
And what happened was I was unable to travel. I was saving up money. I was going to travel to Eastern Bloc of Europe.
Listen to the man.
But the problem was they did this scamdemic with Bill Gates and Fauci and the U.S. government.
They
wouldn't allow me to travel. I refused to take the jab, so they fucked my life over.
Where are these giants?
Yeah, because you're a health risk.
Is the inside of your head a portal into the underworld?
Alhamdulillah.
This person, I was reading the chat. They said I didn't have a passport. I have a passport.
What is a vaccine? What is a vaccine? I don't think an anti-vaxxer has ever
Bill
been able
Gates.
to tell me.
With your mother having
Wow,
a
that is the first time I have ever heard you be silent.
Yeah, answer Amy's question.
Yeah.
What is technology? What is a vaccine?
We're getting picked on by a girl.
Girl?
Technology.
Yeah. So if you go to the learntherist.org, it explains how vaccines are fraud and all that stuff.
I asked you what a vaccine is.
It's poison. That's what that is.
It's the
same thing that happens if you...
poison. That's
What's your definition of vaccine?
If somebody asks me to drink bleach, I'm not going to drink bleach.
Do you even know what the basic definition of a vaccine is?
Are you
poison? You already explained.
It's not. It's a modified version of a strain of virus or bacteria that is injected into you so that your body can develop some form of immunizing protection against that.
Poison. In other words, it's poison.
That's not poison. That's a modified version of the virus or the bacteria, so your immune system can develop some sort of immunizing process against that bacteria or virus. You don't know what a vaccine is.
No, guys, it doesn't even matter if you call it poison or not.
You have no idea what a vaccine is.
Okay, the ancient
the research and the mainstream media won't report on it.
So the ancient pharaohs in the ancient times actually did inject, a small amount of poison in order to gain any immunity.
But the evidence is actually clear on vaccines across all vaccines on vaccinated groups and unvaccinated groups.
Everyone has a immune system that naturally
poison is a chemical composition. It is not
Keep taking your poisons, Goyam.
Yeah, this guy knows. This guy knows. Keep taking the poisons, Goyam.
Is that why Jews don't take vaccines? That's very
no. Listen, let's not talk about God's chosen people. We all know that we're dumb.
This doesn't have anything to do with the Israelis or the Jews.
Wait, how do you square your belief in God with the hollow Earth, though?
I don't believe in God. I told you I'm spiritual.
Okay. He's spiritualist, so he believes in giants, but not anything else. Giants.
Yeah, I don't believe in giants. I don't believe in giants.
The hollow Earth is where the.
You believe in gnomes? You believe in underpants gnomes?
I forgot the giants are in Antarctica.
I don't believe in the Abrahamic religions, dude. I don't believe in the Abrahamic religions. That's what I'm saying.
Yes, something more sound like giants.
But Jordan, I just want to point out.
He has giants on his side.
I just want to point out Jews don't control the world, and so.
I know who giants. Let me tell you who controls the world. This is what you're gonna say. It's cis straight white men. We need to kill all white men. They're the devils. Oh my God, it's Catholic white men.
You maybe should stop making yourself a victim. It makes you look bad.
Yeah, you
No, what do you mean? White people are evil, dude. What are you talking about?
Jordan is literally black. Let's not take.
I'm half giant.
Yeah, I was created by Yakub in a lab.
If you don't want to believe in the hollow Earth where the Nephilim live, keep drinking the Kool-Aid.
No. I believe I believe in Yakub. Yakub created the white race, so I believe in that.
Race doesn't exist.
Right.
We are just the human race, and we should just
Oh my
accept all
God.
our brothers and
What about
sisters.
the giant
Yakub is a black space alien. You're going into slavery, man.
Wait, Amy, what did you mean by race does not exist?
Race does not biologically exist in humans. We share more in common.
Is Michael Jordan
than...
white or black?
No, you're right. We're more in common in terms of species. We're different in species because I mean, like 15%. What is it? African American.
Look at Jordan Maxwell.
15% of Homo erectus or Homo habilis.
So here, let me ask you.
And then you have
Homo sapiens.
Every white boy in here needs to realize. Every white boy in here needs to realize the blacks are superior than whites. Okay.
So I have extremely light
Only in
skin,
dick size, I
but
guess.
both of my parents are Jewish, so am I white? Even though my skin is very light. My skin's
Wait,
very
what?
light.
You're conflating ethnicity.
I didn't hear you.
You didn't have to tell us that you were Jewish.
That's the brain dead argument. You know it.
Yes,
yeah, we know.
You're saying you don't know, but then you're not answering the question. So don't
no, we're saying we do know.
If you're
Okay,
am I
am I white? Yes or no?
push
Answer
the
the
vaccine,
question.
You're
white.
Okay.
So
wait, what?
If you're Ashkenazi, then you're not white. No, you're Middle Eastern. I would consider.
Sorry. You're an astronaut. You're also an outer spacer. Is that correct?
Ask an Aussie.
So
whites.
Race doesn't exist.
Amy,
Jordan, do you
Are you making the claim that you is an alien
It's actually impressive.
Jordan, do you even know anything about your biological history?
Jordan doesn't know anything about
I can't hear you because people are yelling over me.
So crazy.
Oh my God! Imagine that.
If they talk about it, I'm the OG. This time, Jordan. That's why you've been doing all the time. And now you're going.
I actually have a name on my Discord. I'm like, you guys
trying to interrupt them. Oh dear.
But listen, here's the difference between me and you. My name is on my Discord, yours is not. So what does that say about you, boy?
Break it down. Yeah.
Okay.
That is all I'm asking for.
So the argument that Amy made about her
dumbass.
So when you say white and black, okay, those are broad terms that have a lot of ethnicities that are correlated with each other. Up until modernity, Jews were not considered white. Irish people weren't considered white, and Italian people weren't considered
The only
white.
thing white or English, Anglo-Saxon with the name
If
Smith.
we really do DNA tests when it comes to black people, Asian people, which I am an Asian. I mean, look at Polynesian people. Look at European people. It turns out that when it comes to Asian people, they have a higher amount of Homo erectus in their DNA.
Oh yeah,
set.
they do.
And when it comes to Polynesian people, they have a higher and when it comes to Polynesian people, they have a higher percentage of Denisovan. When it comes to African people, they are just kind of pure. They don't really have any kind of
Homo habilis and Homo erectus. 15% of genetics come from Homo habilis.
I disagree. I'm sorry.
Listen. To have subspecies
we
biological
Sure. I'm not making an argument for a subspecies. Okay? I'm just saying that there are biological differences. When we're talking about biological differences, when you say that race is not real, okay, that can be interpreted.
Talking after you swallow that saliva, please, sir.
Wait,
I'm sorry. I have a speech impediment to a degree, but the thing is,
it's all good, bro. We support you in here. We're safe space in here, dude. You'll never get made fun of.
You support me.
I was not aware you would translate.
Yeah, I do support you, man.
Please.
I respect you as a mentally retarded individual myself. I respect everybody.
Finally, the truth.
He does the truth.
I mean, you didn't really expose yourself.
Look, Jordan's a
Oh, sorry, it's not fair.
I'm not a troll, bro. I'm just having fun while I tell you
Present-day
the truth,
sub-Saharan Africans trace up to 19% of their genetic ancestry to an extinct archaic hominid species. Is Homo erectus or Homo habilis?
It does sound like he's
Excuse me, sir. A moment of time.
when other people are talking.
You need to go on a monologue.
So the black people are superior, the white people are inferior, and we must believe that and support that theory. So yeah,
like there's a lot of
That literally
talk
has
about
nothing
race
to
and
do with
IQ.
that.
You know, like there
We
really
must
isn't a clear,
gravel and
concise
eat their
reason
toenails.
of
Jordan
why
can get
there is
any
a
dumber,
different.
quite frankly.
So Jordan,
Jordan,
where did
really
these?
isn't any concise reason.
Jordan is
Yeah,
one of the
girls,
most
okay.
intelligent people on the server.
Where did the Giants come from, Jordan?
Yeah, he's dumb as fuck. Yeah.
It says the Aussie. It says the criminal. Your ancestors were criminal and they were shipped to Australia. What does that say about you, Wolfe?
But smart.
Where's the Giants?
They survived Australia.
He just has a learning impairment.
Yeah, dude, they were
He's a beautiful
criminals.
soul.
Your family probably went to Australia for shagging a pig or something, dude.
Jordan,
That's your
You know
family.
that criminality is
Jordan's
actually
learning
like
impairment is
hereditary.
That's the same place you came from.
Jordan, can you pay attention for 2
not
seconds? Do
hereditary.
you know anything about your genealogical
No, he
history
simply
at
lacks
all?
the ability. I'm afraid.
Because 19% of sub-Saharan
Well, the important thing to remember is 1 + 2.
What percent of white Americans are Ooga
You can't
Swear
add
my
one
asshole
to
question.
My balls are so itchy.
How many white Americans are monkeys?
Do you know anything about your genealogical history, Jordan?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Do you know anything
Hey,
about
Jordan.
your
I can't
genealogical
answer, Jordan.
What do you mean by that?
on any part of your family, anywhere?
Wait,
You
he
know
doesn't even know what genes are. He probably thinks they're a pair of Levi's.
I answered the question.
We need to put it in a language that man can
Can
understand.
you DM me the
Jordan,
question?
do you know anything about your genealogy?
When your forefathers lived
What's
on
up,
the
Nine
Holen,
Tails? Oh my
were they
gosh.
giants or were they
That
dragons?
sounds good.
Or
Dude,
something?
I come.
You
know
know
anything
I
about
come
your
from
genealogy?
Are you guys mental, man? Like you guys kind of jumping around.
most
yes,
most of my
sir.
family
Yes,
is
sir.
Australian.
I'm trying
Yes,
to
sir.
speak to
We are
Jordan
very
in a
mental.
language that he understands. I was asked to speak in a language he
One
understands.
at a
What I'm going to
time.
use is
I have
wild ass conspiracy theories with no
We all speak
link
English
to
here.
any kind of reality.
Room is the
You
moment.
want me to answer the question, or are you going to
Conspiracy
continue to talk
theories,
over
man.
me?
I hate conspiracy theories.
So no, you don't know anything about your genealogy, Jordan?
Oh no, I do.
Well, he's half giant.
I'm gonna answer the question if you let me, but you're not going
All
to
right,
let
answer.
me.
Okay, everybody shut up. Everybody
Okay,
shut up.
so I'm a mix of a lot of European ethnicities. I have English, Scottish, Irish, Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Germany, France. I got a little bit of native blood, like 10% from
Imagine.
You're not
Durango,
entirely
Mexico.
white
They
then.
said
Imagine.
Durango,
So you're not
Mexico.
entirely white then. If you're part Irish,
Well, I
and you're
pass
part
like when you
indigenous.
see me in the streets, you're gonna say that's white boy in the
If you're
street.
part Irish, Scottish, and indigenous, you're not entirely white
Well,
then, correct?
No, because
you're
my
a
facial,
Talking
my
about the
facial
Irish
features
Like
are
race is just based off
So you're a
for the
mongrel.
most
Right?
part.
So you're
Don't worry,
white.
I'm an
So you're
mongrel.
white
too.
characteristics.
No.
You're the
If you see me,
mongrel.
if you see me
Why can't we get an assembly question? Which
Like
part of
race
your
is based off of your
genetics is
appearance for the
responsible
most
for your
part.
retardation?
If you pass as white, you're white.
Probably
Like,
the
it's how it works.
Irish, honestly.
Definition.
Probably the Irish. If I'm being real with you,
That's
probably
what
the
I
Irish.
was going with too, sir. That's what I was going with too.
Yeah,
Well,
so
Irish
imagine
people
being
were not
Irish,
considered white up until like 80 years ago.
Well, I went to Ireland and I saw the potato famine. I also went to Galway and I was like, what the fuck?
Jordan, are you
All right,
really
man.
Irish?
You got a world
Keep on
traveler.
asking him questions, but I don't know if there's any other. God does
Irish
not
blood in his
exist.
veins. It's got the Irish.
I mean,
You
like,
saw the potato famine that happened between 1845 to 52. You went
Yeah,
to
that
Ireland and
explains a lot.
saw the potato famine.
Yeah, I saw.
In
You know what I meant? I
1852.
saw where it took place. I read the history.
That's
on it.
correct, sir.
I didn't
Did
actually
you go with Doc
traveled
Emmett?
and
Did
was
they
up
like a
in
DeLorean?
1852, so
What's
the
going
potato
on here?
famine.
I just
He wrote
You saw the
a
famine
report.
first.
He wrote the report. You can
Jesus, and now
download it
this guy is talking.
from reasonable academic
Went to
Ireland
sources.
Ireland,
time
It is
traveler.
impossible to
fantasizing
have
about like Anglo-Saxons, like you're saying.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
that's
I was
Anglo-Saxons?
fantasizing about my ancestors starving and famine because there's going to be a famine in America very soon. A lot of
You're so
Americans are
full
going to
of shit.
die,
Like,
and
seriously.
7 million
He
Americans.
did say he was trolling.
Where's your source on that?
Assyrians must die.
True.
What do you mean
It
engaging
was
in this
on
shit?
clock chain as we speak.
There are theists
And
who
the
wants to
people
America's one of the most
simply
God.
prosperous
don't
nations in
supplies
the
to
world.
keep
You think it's
Atheists?
gonna be
the
a
country
famine there?
alive. And
Any
the
kids? No,
predictions
there's no
are
warning
up to
this year.
80% of Americans will die.
That's great.
Oh, wait,
That's
wait,
a
wait,
great
wait,
famine.
Hold
It's
for
not
him to
famine.
talk. We can't hear
There will be
people.
no famine in the United States, man.
I'm going to tell you.
It's happening on Tuesday.
Can I,
So just be aware on Tuesday. Be
Can I
very
just-
alert. Be very
can I tell you a
vigilant.
history about the United States? So
There's
these
so
guys
much
know
excess
a lot of
food in the United
This
States.
Lamont
How
guy
much
is around
explanation
talking
is
over
Like it's
everybody.
going on a
ridiculous.
famine?
It's not going to be a famine. What are you
Can I?
On
I just say,
Tuesday when you're looking out your window, just put your little picky eyes out.
can I
Look
just say
left,
this?
look right,
Let
and
me
everything
say,
will be okay.
this is U.S. history right here. So I think it was in 18. It's in the 1800s. I don't know the exact year, but
Were
the
you there
U.S.
too?
the U.S. actually killed. The U.S. government worked, and they actually killed the buffalo so that the natives would starve. That was one of their strategies.
Fuck.
So the U.S. government
Just
has
one.
committed famine in the past, and there's no
Sounds
reason
like
why
a
they
skill
wouldn't do it
issue,
again.
man.
Only against the
Sounds
native
like a
people
skill
because
issue.
Maybe they were
don't
working with the
they don't
reptilians.
buy
Is that
stuff
what was
from
happening?
Americans.
They were working with
No,
the
what they were
reptilians
doing
to
is
kill
they
the
were making
buffalo.
sure that people
How
don't
do
have
you
a
know?
food source, so they depend on the
How
U.S.
do you
government.
know?
What do
How
you
do you
mean?
know?
The food is still there.
To be
You just
fair,
decided
no,
not
no.
to buy
To be
it.
fair to Jordan Maxwell, to be
You
fair to
you
Jordan
just
Maxwell,
decided not to
this is
buy it from
documented
Americans.
case, and there is a historical consensus on the United States government on the eradication of buffaloes in the middle. In the yeah, I mean there is a historical.
These people think I'm lying because I'm saying the truth.
Why
And
did they
the
do
truth sounds so like
that?
crazy.
Why?
No, it's not.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that. Everybody learned that in like
Everybody
elementary.
knows.
We all know about
Why were you calling me a conspiracy theorist or like George's a conspiracy theorist? Oh my god!
He's not even
You said you went to Ireland and saw the Great Potato Famine, which was in 1845.
Yeah, that makes no sense whatsoever.
saying
Like,
that.
you did not see Irish stuff
Gives
in
more
Ireland.
credibility to his
Impossible.
personality.
Unless he's
I honestly
200 years old.
feel that like you know what he says. You know what he says. He saw the potato famine. He went to Ireland. They had no fucking crisps on the shelves. So it's like, I guess the potato famine must be still going on, guys.
When I was in Ireland, this is the crazy thing again.
Oh my god. I'm so tempted to go to another channel or another server. I don't know. I love Mark. I got back up with Mark and Sumami and all sorts of wonderful people in here. But the people I want to hear the conspiracy theorists. I want to hear the religious people. But like some of these people, it sounds like they are picking times. Like as soon as we talk, they start talking. Like makes it impossible.
Right. And I just turned 21 at the time, and I was like, in the U.S. you get to drink at 21, whatever. I saw like, dude, there was fucking man. They got to do a better job of checking those IDs, man, because those people weren't even 18 in those fucking bars. Like, what's that?
there?
Drinking 15 all the time.
You know what? I once saw an American drinking battery acid. They really need to fucking sort out that entire whole battery acid drinking phenomenon over there, because clearly, Jordan, you be one of those people that's been drinking battery acid.
I'm the guy that
like they keep on referencing him, and so it goes back to him.
I'm the guy that created the Tide Pod challenge, bro.
Nobody is
Amy
surprised.
Newman, what do you think about the Jewish lobby in the American foreign policy sector?
I think
it's necessary for the security and preservation of Israel.
What are your anti-Semitic views from beginning to end? Please go ahead.
I can't hear you over this mumbling retard. Can you repeat what you said?
Man, Americans love it.
For you, why would America have an interest?
I still can't hear you over these mumbling retards. Can you please repeat what you said?
American foreign policy is controlled by Israel. That is a fact.
I wouldn't say fully controlled, but it is impacted. Yeah.
Listen, I just want to say this about Israel. Listen, Israel can do no wrong. Dude, Israel can do no wrong.
Why is Jordan not in the conspiracy camp? I'm sorry. What is he doing in religion? Jordan, you're out of your element.
Raise your hand.
This is something that people respected public figures like Chomsky or Bush talk about, but of course the media is shunning.
Did you just say we respect Noam Chomsky? No one respects.
Yes, we do here, Viv. Yes, we do. Yes, we do, Viv. Here, yes.
Only you do. Only
you do, Spartacus. Only you do.
It's more than
you're just ignorant.
Only you do what?
Spartacus is pro-Jewish.
It's not cool enough. He ain't cool enough. That's the problem. How about Norman Finkelstein?
How about
Israel did nothing?
How about George Washington?
I love
How
you
about
guys.
Thomas Jefferson?
Can't hear.
I love you more.
Oh my god, I can't hear. Shut the fuck up, bitch.
Wow. Gotta start being a jackass, bro.
Well, was that a cis white male that said that? That was
we're talking shit about Chomsky. What the fuck? We're talking shit about Chomsky.
If you haven't noticed that already.
You had a female in here that had in her bio, I sell content. She sells her fucking pornography.
Shut the fuck up. Stupid, virginal, fucking moronic rambling. Shut the fuck up, all of you.
Yeah, you sell pornography, so and you're here yelling at me? You're a prostitute! You're a prostitute! And you're yelling at me?
What's wrong with her being
Yeah, I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to your pimp. I want to talk to your pimp. I don't want to talk to you. I want to talk to your pimp. I don't want to talk to you.
Yo,
You're a prostitute.
You seem like an overly aggressive female for some reason.
Well, I would be aggressive too if I was a prostitute, so I don't really blame her.
Bitch, your mother's a fucking prostitute. I am a woman.
I sell content. I sell content.
You will never get laid. You will die alone. You're all
Dude, don't tell me you're an OnlyFans.
The last time I muted everything, they actually got kind of quiet. Let's see if I mute and then I go. I think I'm probably going to go to the other server. Not because I don't love the politics server, but there's so many cooks in this kitchen. Like, I can't fucking hear. I want people to disagree with me. No one can do anyone.
And your parents will be broke. You'll never make an OnlyFans. It is Satan. It is the devil. It is evil, man.
I have a genuine question for you right
now. I'm sorry, guys. I just can't hear. I can hear. Has nothing to do with the politics server. I love the politics server. Let's oh my. The problem is if they took away counter apologetics, I don't want to go like on a place where I shouldn't be. Casual chats. It's kind of steady voice change. Panhandlers. Panhandlers was pretty good. Where was the Panhandlers? Oh, Panhandlers pretty busy. My lordy. I'm in theology right now. Yes. Well, I realize that. That's for a troll. That is kind of what he wants to do. I also noticed it just sounded, maybe it's just by accident, but it actually sounded like he was talking when we started talking. And so I just don't know how to actually have a conversation. In a second, maybe I'll go to the Panhandlers because there's people in there. But they had some good subjects, except for the lizards. Let's maybe see what Panhandlers is doing.
There's nothing wrong with it. Like, what within the 10...
I just realized I'm live streaming. I don't want to go in there. Fuck, unless someone clicks it. God damn it. All right. Wish there was a voice, regular voice chat. Faith talks, philosophy babble, round table. How about the round table? See if we can get anybody to come on in. I have to ride a fine line because I don't want to just record people if they don't know they're being recorded. Just kick that door world right open. Because I know that some people are like, oh my God, you're recording me? Even though a lot of times they're saying things they probably shouldn't.
It's only Rubiks.
What's up, Rubiks? It's never just only you. Oh my lordy, though. That was just a lot of sound. It was like opposite ASMR.
Don't you know anyone? Whoever screams the loudest is the most correct.
Indeed. Got to really get that high volume and pitch, apparently. Oh. If no one ends up, maybe I'll try going into another politics server. But there was just so many cooks in that kitchen.
Have you ever been to the Tartaria one? That one is a shit show.
Ooh. What's it called?
Tartaria.
I don't think so.
I will send you an invite to it. It is a shit show.
All right.
Of flat earthers.
I am on Earth Awakens. That's.
I'm gonna send you.
You want to debate me,
right now.
Ninetales? Is it theology?
It's a shit show. It's mostly flat earthers.
Oh, we can group there.
There
Fantastic, caught in the middle. Sounds good. I think I'm a mod here, but yeah, I think so, which is crazy. Oh wait, no, this is PNR. Oh my god, I'm a mod on politics. I probably should have muted. I forgot. La da 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 dee da dee dum. That's okay. Oh, may debate in StreamYard. We'll see. It's fun having Mark in. It's fun having Sumami in. Got Bird. Bird, you agree with me, though. Your Bird is the word.
But yeah, the Tartaria server often has better, like FTFEs often on there. He was banned for asking for a map.
It's mostly just going to be myself. I'm probably going to kick you in a second, but I just wanted to say hi.
Hey, what up?
Not too much.
I was just listening to that ramble of bullshit from that room just a minute ago.
But yeah, it's primarily a flat Earth server and a lot of pseudoscience.
Sweet, that sounds just like our alley, huh?
Would expect.
Yeah, I need to go on. Bird, I love you. I cannot do two ways. I'm going to kick you.
You should.
But I love you.
Sweet. Have fun.
But yeah, I sent you the invite. It's in a private message. You should have it.
Ah. Joined it. Had to take it off screen. So I don't want to show anything. What is up, Randolph? Woo! What is up, Ice? What is up, everybody? Looking at politics. They're all still in religion going at it.
Yep.
I hope you're all having a good day or night, depending on where you are. If you're a creationist, I will take your call very specifically because I will looking for some debate. Maybe I'll do a call. I don't even know what the round table is.
Me neither.
But I'm just going to say hi to everybody. Give me 1 second. I'll do some bait. Wrong one. Whoopsie. See if I can get anybody. All right. That guy's going to tell me to fuck off. Oh, no. He's going to just do John. I love all of these people here, even though they may not love me. Ha ha da da. All right. Well, Rubiks, I think I got someone in StreamYard that wants to debate. So just give me a second. Oh.
Oh, cool.
Hello, hello, Ninetails.
Oh my god, you caught me right in the middle of taking a bong hit. Oh my god.
Oh my. I can give you a second if you want.
No, I'm good.
Happy 421.
Yeah, I got to like 424, according to the lazy stoners. I'm actually quitting after this. I just bought this for like this week.
Really?
Yeah. Oh my god, I just got banned from a Railcam chat for the funniest thing. So I said, that cam looks damn good. And someone's like, hey, my grandchildren are watching this. Please watch your language. And I was like, either they're old enough to know better or they're too young to read. Come on.
Yeah, that server. Where is Panhandles?
I have more than enough words about Doobie, but I'm not here to talk about Doobie. I've talked enough about Doobie in my time online. I'm here to talk about platforming.
Alrighty.
Particularly, I think streamers need to take more responsibility for who they platform. You know, you're doing your audience a disservice by bringing them into the politics Discord without context, without pre-information. And that is literally a server where people are pretending to not be Nazis because there's so many Nazis there.
I will say, when it comes to the far-right fundamentalists, like the politics and religion and 4chan and all that stuff, it's hard not to go where the horrible people are, because that is where a lot of the theists are.
Oh, there are plenty of theists who aren't far right. And they're probably easier to talk to in certain ways. Not as easy to dunk on, perhaps.
Sure, but I guess Discord, at least with these servers, there's far left, there's far right, there's far everybody. And if you don't counter them, then they just take over.
Not really. Like, for instance, like, do you really think anybody was countering Nazis in Doobie's server there? Like, that's what Doobie says happens. But believe me, I spent time in there, both under my current name that you see me as and under different names. Nothing changes. The same thing goes on again and again. The smart person gets screamed out of the room.
But so the option is just to abandon it?
No, the option is not to broadcast it. Like, I have no problem with you being there and dissenting. I'm all for resistance. But when you're broadcasting it, that's giving his server the ability to put their message out there. Whereas otherwise it would just be isolated and contained to its own degeneracy. Not that I like that word, but I'm pretty sure they would agree with it.
I disagree. I don't think it's contained. I think it grows. And I think that what happens is that they come off trying to be the cool, they end up being the representations of the politically incorrect.
How does a server grow?
How does a server grow? A debate server? By getting people to debate and have different opinions.
So those people just show up randomly in a vacuum, and in a vacuum, more people show up randomly because there was a debate there.
Is that what I said?
Well, let's be honest about what the mechanism is, right? They get it through other people broadcasting those debates that he has on his server.
Through who? Who specifically are you talking about first?
Doobie, the administrator of the server.
Oh, you're against the administrator of the politics and religion server?
But this server in particular, it has no real other. The only other way it grows is by people typing politics into the search bar and stumbling into there, which is why I appreciate the people who are there to put out their dissenting voices, despite all the bullshit. However, what I'm particularly not for is when that server becomes more and more publicly known and becomes public knowledge.
I knew about the Nazis on 4chan for a long time, and it took about a good 5 to 10 years until they broke out and went from Stormfront to 4chan to now all of the other mainstream platforms. And when you just have an echo chamber, and sounds like you at least...
I'm not asking you to have an echo chamber. I'm asking you not to broadcast it.
It sounds like saying the same thing.
It's not, because like I said, you can go in there and dissent all you'd like. But if you're broadcasting their message, then you're actually allowing them to broadcast themselves.
But the whole point is you then counter it. You need
ideally,
to be...
but you're just going to get screamed over.
Well, what was happening in there was just a void of absolute gibberish. No one could hear whatever, but the idea, it would be like saying that I am platforming Kent Hovind because I'm showing Kent Hovind content. But if you're showing Kent Hovind and then you're debunking him, you're doing a service.
I think that there's nuance here. I think like if you're just showing Kent Hovind content, Kent Hovind can't really scream over you. You're able to delegate when Kent Hovind actually speaks and when you get to speak over him. In a debate where it's a little bit more mutual, people tend to be a bit more on edge about that because that person does have an ability to respond with sneaky rhetoric that people who are ill-informed may not be able to see past.
Indeed.
So my problem is that while I understand what you're getting at, because I've come from that same sentiment before, I think that you have to delineate being there as a dissenting voice, which for a server like Doobie's, it could probably use as many dissenting voices as we can throw at it. However, I want zero broadcasting of anything that happens in that server, personally, because I don't think that you can avoid the contact with their recruitment efforts.
I see that as a disservice. I think that we should be recording it. We should be giving sunlight to this, because then you prepare people and give them proper arguments for when they actually deal with it in real life.
I feel like we're doing that now for your audience by having this discussion, but this
by having a formal debate.
Sort of. Not in the server where people are there to scream over us and give their idealized rhetoric on the issue. So my problem is particularly that you probably don't have much of an action plan either for real people who truly de-radicalize. They don't just like go in there and start debating everybody. They will speak up against things and try to post counter propaganda. But most of the time, they're looking for vulnerable people who seem to be sliding into a hole, who they can reach out to and bring back. This is because because most of the people who counter these things as part of like their daily lives, they know that you can't just tell people they're wrong and expect them to change.
But how do you want to get to those people? How do you want to get to someone that may be on the fence or that may have heard these ideas and are vulnerable to them?
You don't get to them by bringing in more people to the server by broadcasting it.
Yes, you do.
No, you don't.
I don't see how you don't.
Can you explain the process then?
It's streaming. You get more subscribers, more viewers, more likes, this is our job as counter apologists and counter conspiracy theorists and counter prejudice people, is that we need to actually talk with them.
Amy, we've both been doing this for a few years now. You remember who I am, right?
I believe so. No,
I did the trans.
sorry.
I did the trans athletes debate. Started off in NDD. Told James to fuck off at one point. No, okay.
Did you have a different name?
We both basically started off at the same time. I was Ninetales Cosmic Fox.
You
were.
I apologize.
I think we did a tag team debate.
Because when I saw you in chat, you seemed highly familiar. Like your name registered to me right away.
Yeah, it's been a couple of years since like we ever interacted in the MDD side of things. And these criticisms are more for James, by the way. Not this isn't a subtweet or anything, but like it's since you're coming from there, I want people to think twice when it's like, okay, so we've had this person on here. Like ideally you counter things, but James doesn't have any standards, right? So he can put up a very well and articulate. He'll put up an articulate Nazi against some. Well, I mean, if your standards are view counts, and fine, but he'll put up an articulate Nazi against somebody who's never done anti-fascist, like said an anti-fascist thing in their life, thinks that they're anti-fascist because morally they are, but doesn't actually understand the difference between, like anti-fascist liberalism versus anti-fascist leftism, which actually resists it.
I identify as I am an anti-fascist because when people tell me that anti-fascism as fascism, to me they are saying that A equals not A. Literally, they're saying A equals not A. But I'm the politically incorrect version of that. I say things that I curse and say things that are spicy. However, I very much want to counter those types of people. It's not that I want to platform them. It's that I think they need disinfectant and sunlight. And I think that if they're not shown with no counter, then I think that people are actually more vulnerable to going, that actually sounds pretty good on certain things, because some of everything Jordan was saying was crazy. But if you fill yourself with lots of jargon and technical words, just like creationists do, then you can start to sound very fancy. You can start to let's talk about the bell curve. I mean, we're just talking books, right? Well, you're talking about the ends of the extremes, and it turns out that most humans are actually all the same. Well, not all the same, but generally speaking, we all come in this one range, and biologically speaking, we are more similar than even the most related apes in the jungle. Just two random humans we could pick. Big Screen Bird wants to come in. That's funny.
You can bring anyone in who you'd like.
I will let you come in, Big Screen, for a little bit.
I'm chilling.
But this is very specific. It's like supposed to be like I get to do some 1v1s, or if James is in,
okay,
this is some 2v2s.
Speaking of which,
yes,
different
James though, different.
Oh, okay.
There's my arguments Jameses in my life.
Oh, cute. I'm just kidding.
My co-host is James, and then there's James from Modern Day Debate. I love them both.
In a 1v1 situation, my argument starts to fall apart the more competent you become. But in a panel situation, it literally becomes an issue of stacking, right? Like, is one side more prepared, more informed, and better narratively than the other side? And is that the side we want to be? Because you can have two very smart anti-fascists on a panel and one really bad one.
Forgive me.
It's okay. As long as you can still hear. You can have two really good anti-fascists on a panel and one bad one versus three fascists of any quality, and they'll just focus on that bad one. They'll keep responding to that bad one because those are the ones that's easy for them. So while what you're saying in a vacuum is ideal and makes a lot of sense, my personal experience after 3 years of being in panels of all sorts, broadcasted, the ones that are broadcasted in a big deal, all the way down to the private servers, it's always the same thing. The weakest link spoils it for everyone else. And in Doobie server, that's the strategy. That is the strategy. The smartest person gets shouted out of the room. You get called the R slur for saying something intelligent.
when they do a lot of those slurs and insults, I have found, not always, but I've found they feel cornered, they feel vulnerable, and it's a lowest hanging fruit that they go for. They go for some sort of curse, they go for some sort of insult, and in my opinion, I have always liked when people have begun to insult me because it means that I am hitting somewhere well theologically or scientifically.
Yeah, and I've been there too. It's very validating. But as far as like crowd dynamics go, they've got the upper hand. There's more of them than there are of you.
Oh, in PNR and politics? Well, there's only more of them because they have kind of congregated. I have been an active member.
No, they manufacture this space to be anti-intellectual. You have to realize this, that you might be an anomaly in that, like I've been an anomaly in certain spaces, especially centrist spaces, who get mad at the idea that something can be slightly racist. But the idea
triggers them.
The idea that I'm getting at is that your ability to actually do what you're claiming you want to do, which is to just give me a second so that way I can get my words, to inform people better and essentially put light on this and disinfect it. They want that light. They want the attention for being who they are. Doobie brings attention to his server all the time because they only ever allow the lowest common denominator to be the focus of the discussion.
I mean, are they banning people who disagree with them? Are they getting rid of...
No, because that plays into the free speech angle of things. But they don't need to ban people when they literally control the narrative every second of the day. Let me tell you, there's been points where I've been in like a server or in that server in one of the chat rooms. I can't remember which one, but I was talking one-on-one with somebody, and then someone shows up, then they leave, then they come back with 3 people, and those people, and they all start shouting over me with Nazi stuff, yelling slurs and stuff like that. They essentially got mad that I was there having an intelligent discussion with that person.
Sure.
And that's the dynamic there. It's essentially a mob there to destroy any chance of someone doing what you're hoping to do.
But that kind of isolates my point, doesn't it? That they are upset at something. They're mad, and they're doing that to illustrate that they can't actually make an argument.
It might be illustrative of your point, but that doesn't mean that people are going to see that through your stream or when they visit that server.
But I would never.
I think
an upload.
Here, let me hand out an olive branch just to clarify what I mean. If you spent more time pausing, like muting the entire server so you could elaborate to your audience what's going on, how they're using their tactics to do these things, I'd be more sympathetic to what you're saying. But you're kind of just letting this go, and you're doing what I consider to be the panelists' fault, which is to just try to get your voice in there when you should be narrating to your stream. Look, this server is afraid of people who are smart right now.
I think that it was a cluster, and that the reason that I was not interjecting my voice into some of those at that was because it would have made it worse, is that no one could hear anything.
No, I mean, like for your stream, if you were to pause the audio from the server and just talk directly to your stream, just to make sure to narrate things, because even for me, as someone who sat in that server as long as I has gone through so much far right rhetoric and debunked a lot of it just for myself, because I hear it, I'm like, what the fuck, right? I hear that stuff and it confuses the shit out of me how we got from point A to point B. And that's the point. It's essentially a gaslighting thing. So I'm not saying you need to explain steps A to B and C and stuff like that, but you need to make sure your audience knows, look, this person might sound like he's being really tough. He's calling someone the R slur. He's talking about how dumb they are, but they're scared. And I need you to keep saying that instead of just letting them have their spotlight.
I would say I try and call out each and every time that they make a stupid point. I sometimes cannot add my voice to the cluster, but that was, I think, as Mark was there as well, and Tsunami, everyone was talking. Not only was everyone talking, it sounded like he was trying to talk when we were talking, as in like he was waiting and then he would talk over us. And so a troll, eventually, you just got to give up on. In a second, I'm also going to get Bird in. I don't know if I should do this 1v1 or if I should go back and forth. Let me just add Bird. I don't know if he's...
I'm chill. If he wants to speak. Or
sure, but then I have to get both of you. It's supposed to be...
You don't have to moderate.
I'm saying
I'll self-moderate, so that way it's not like a panel. It's just like a discussion.
Sure. What's up, Bird?
Hey, yo, what up?
Not too much.
Can y'all hear me okay?
Everything doing pretty good. How are you doing?
Doing awesome, man. Am I coming through okay?
Yes, you are.
Although I can't tell if you're standing by a waterfall, a fan, or you're driving.
It does have a...
Is that better?
I find it nice. I find it's kind of like ASMR. Like, you know how you get those white noise machines?
Yeah. Well, if it's too big of a deal, I can pull over. It ain't no big deal. I just want to add to this conversation. I hear exactly what both of y'all are saying, and I'm going to agree and disagree at the same time with both of you. Because Amy knows my feelings on James and modern day debate. I think he is a view whore, and he is only in it for money, and that's totally fine. That is his right, and he can do whatever he wants. But I'm, in that same breath, I think you have to bring idiots to the surface to let people who are on the fence figure out, okay, this person is an actual idiot, and, you know, you keep them out of your life. Which, Amy, I've been around Amy, 2 years now, maybe?
Think so.
For quite a while, and I haven't been coming on as much because Amy is really, really good at getting idiots to come on our show with nonsense. And what that would make me do is basically just get angry because all they do is talk nonsense. I was in that room listening to y'all with that guy, and Mark hit it on the head. That they just go from point to point to point to point and never make any substantial, evidence or anything for any claim. That's the part that infuriates me. But people are smart enough on Amy's channel to understand this and really key on it, which is great. So that part I would definitely agree with. I'm sorry, you said your name was Nine?
I'm Nine Tails. You can also refer to me as Melanie if that's easier.
Okay. Sure, Melanie, totally fine. First time meeting you, by the way. And then I also agree with Melanie that none of these idiots should be platformed whatsoever. So I go back and forth between, yes, they should be brought to the light, and then no one should platform them. It's a tough dichotomy for me because I support both sides, which I know is not the norm. So I totally get what each other is.
I think I understand what you're saying. I think if I was just uploading content that was just their voice, then in an essence, I would be platforming them. I think I would be giving them a voice to grow. I view this channel very much like a vaccine, is that you should be able to see not only the stupid. The first time I came across a flat earther, they almost sound impressive. And so you need to be prepared in real life so that when you meet someone or even online, you have something to say. You have either a comeback or a retort, or you have something in the back of your brain that goes, oh, I've seen this before, and this was bullshit.
I have sirens, so I want to interject, but can someone...
You're good. Oh, they're coming for you.
Yeah, probably. So I guess I'll just roll with it, whatever. Enjoy the sound of the police in my neighborhood. So I agree that, yeah, you're not just giving them a chance to say their voice and stuff like that, which is probably the most abject form of platforming. By the way, my volume thing is, am I going in and out? Because sometimes my volume thing is there and sometimes it's not.
I hear you okay right now.
I'm consistent though in my levels, right? Because I'm used to using OBS to check my levels and I'm not streaming. So,
oh, and I think we lost Bird, but send in love, Bird.
But yeah, I tend to agree that, in the most abject sense, you're not just merely platforming them, but we can't just be abject about this. And you said like it should be a vaccine, which I agree, but I think that also implies a certain, like, we should also have a standard, because I'm also, I've had very much the same sentiments as Bird has expressed, where I'm like, yes, I do understand how in order to debunk these things, we have to bring them to light. But I think one of the problems is that when, like, the left especially is constantly tormented about how, like, are these like terrible people who get picked up by the rhetoric? Are they being taken advantage of for mental health? Are they completely normal people who are just having normal circumstances taken advantage of? And I think there's always a hint. There's yes, yes, and yes, because this is kind of like what engineers or scientists or mathematicians would call a partial differential equation, which is that you have variables on both sides of the equation that equal each other with some sort of other stuff in between to describe how they interact. And these things do interact. There's a mixture of normal people who get caught up in normal circumstances, even intelligent people, but there's also people who get caught up because they lack information or lack perspective or stuff like that. There's people who get taken advantage of because of their mental health. And there's people who are just bad people who want to find an excuse to be bad. In a way, I think we should shift this away from you, because you are just an individual person. You're kind of handling your platform more individually speaking. I think James is a better example of this, as somebody who might be seen as more of like a corporate entity almost, just figuratively, in the way he handles things. It's very capitalist. And yeah, the money whoring is real, in my opinion, because I think that poses a serious trade-off where you can't have it both ways at that point. You can't say, okay, I'm platforming people and I'm bringing light to this, and then also be like, well, I'm only doing what's best for the money, because I'm going to tell you right now, the best leftists are not the most popular ones. The most popular ones have been pretty much clawing their way to the top. Like we're crabs in a bucket, to get to where they were, mostly by talking shit behind the scenes about people who would otherwise look better than them. There's a lot of popularity politics going on in there, and it makes me really sick. And that exact dynamic is why I don't trust that you can just bring the person with the most views on both sides, and then it's suddenly an equal equation. The person with the most views on the far right side is the person with the most extreme rhetoric, because right now that is populist. That's the person who's actually kind of exploiting the horseshoe theory. Far leftists, I can tell you from firsthand experience, are hardly exploiting horseshoe theory, and when we do, we're heavily critiqued by our own, because the most popular leftists are the ones straddling the line between neoliberal and leftist. They're your maybe far left, definitely left, but like, they're socialist. They're not democratic socialists or anything, but goddamn, they do fail at the end of the day to take things to a certain point. So when people like James sort of look at this as like, well, he's had Destiny on against people who literally incite terrorism, and Destiny is not a leftist. Destiny is, if anything, a capitalist. He doesn't even believe that corporate hegemonies exist, which I would like people like Robert Reich, who isn't even a leftist, but is definitely like able to critique economics in a way that satisfies leftism, in my opinion. Because he's more of like a market socialist. He can admit they exist, and he's like an actual economist. And so what I'm saying is that
sure,
that profit model really stacks things in favor of the far right.
Well, and he's a Christian, I would say that he probably views himself as a moderate or a liberal Christian. Probably more a moderate because of his politics. And it very much depends on, what the actual platform, what the ideas are. Because there are some ideas that the only way we're going to get rid of creationism is by going to creationists and pointing out why they're wrong. The only way we're going to get, well, there are multiple ways that we can get rid of prejudice, but a good way to get rid of prejudice is by actually having conversations, is by using the same Socratic method. I'm not, I feel like we're not completely disagreeing on the goal. The goal is that we want people to treat each other better.
Yeah, I would say I'm even sympathizing with you because I've had that mindset very early on, because there was a point where a large portion of the popular left really just oh, hey.
Welcome back.
If I do need to finish. A large portion of the left really cast aside debate culture and panels and stuff like that as being kind of passe. And that really upset me because that was my bread and butter at the time, to be honest. And because that's my skill. I'm really good at telling people how fucking wrong they are. So, for me, I didn't like hearing them say oh, it can only lead to bad things. But I think that they were I had a lot of time after that, about a year and a half, to spend time on panels and in spaces that were doing this issue and really reflect on this. And I found that, there are people there who sustain themselves by calling themselves leftists, but they're really more like Destiny. And then there's real leftists like me who try to exist in that space. And I'll be damned if we don't get fucking gaslit the hell out of there. And those are supposed to be supposedly centrist spaces. These are things things that are ideal in a vacuum, but when we actually try to apply these things, they work much differently.
And I used to call myself a centrist. I view myself as half the labels that people bring up. The problem with politics.
Well, when you say race doesn't exist, that's a centrist position that I inherently disagree with. But I'm not here to argue that today.
You say that's a centrist position?
It you can elaborate and it probably might become less centrist, but on the face of it, that as a talking point, that's an incredibly centrist talking point. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, maybe I'll fix it. Racism very much still exists. Race does not exist. I have privilege that comes from the skin color that is granted to me, but that doesn't mean that it comes from a biological source. It comes from a sociological source.
Okay, you're obviously here for this, so do you think race can exist systemically?
Systemically? Racism can exist systemically.
No, I'm saying race specifically, and if not, I need you to elaborate how.
Why? What race am I? You're a race.
You're probably treated as white by the system.
Okay, why do these extreme, why do they not think that I am... Why is it that the more conservative that I go, I'm viewed as a minority, and the more liberal that I go, I'm viewed as a white person?
A minority according to race? You need to elaborate.
Yes, as in...
Yeah, I'm confused too, Amy.
As in, when I tell people that I'm Jewish, I suddenly stop being white. I suddenly...
Because anti-Semitism exists more on the right.
Agreed.
Sure, exactly. But that to me basically shows me that race does not exist biologically. We're not talking about skin color. We're talking about how we're treated.
So if your only baseline and nothing is biology, then this is fine. But we also know that something like gender isn't just defined by biology, clearly. So
yeah, gender is a sociological phenomenon.
And so is race.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's not a biological one, is it?
But there is like, for example, there is such like, I'm not trying to be a race realist here by any stretch, but there is such a thing as skin pigment, just like there is such a thing as biological sex.
True.
And people can be treated differently based
And
on something like skin pigment.
I can go out into the light, and unlike I hear a lot of people, they're like, oh my god, I suck at tanning. And although I do lots of jokes about it, I tan very well. And I can basically go out and throughout a period, a summer or two, I can look more Middle Eastern. Yes, I don't burn. I can go out in the sun all day long.
I believe that. I burn, but I also like, I tan so much that I literally like... I go the color of coffee color.
Video games.
Like not dark. I don't go black coffee color, but like like coffee with cream in it kind of deal. That's how dark my skin gets, even though I am very European. Trust me. And but
sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. You haven't had a chance to speak. If you
want.
Wait,
what is your ethnicity?
I just told you.
No, I skipped. European. I heard the European? Oh, well, I guess
I'm always peeing.
Always peeing. Well, I guess my big sell is that racists definitely exist. There are people that go and
but here's the thing.
Prejudiced to people.
I'm not asking about racists. I need to keep the focus on race. So, like, do you think someone with black skin has the ability to tell themselves that race doesn't exist, or do you think that they get to wake up and be?
They can. Will people treat them as if race doesn't exist? No.
Do you think racism is the only thing that causes people to treat them differently?
Do you think racism that's a major part of why people may treat them differently? There may be other reasons why. There may be an intersectionality of why. Multiple reasons, especially depending.
Well, the intersectionality is actually supposed to be where someone's skin color makes them invisible. What you're talking about is interconnectivity. So, for example, the common treatment that non-white people experience is interconnectivity. I'm going to say that I do think so because I've talked to somebody who is literally like able to. Like, this person's a black activist and was able to explain the difference between intersectionality and interconnectivity when I had a discussion with them after I fucked up. So trust me, there's a difference.
But intersectionality is where multiple factors come together that may make something worse. So, for example, if you are
that's a layman's way of putting
woman, you have both the racist people and misogyny. They are intersecting.
If you look at what black scholars really say, intersectionality is the intersection where various groups become invisible. Interconnectivity is what you just referred to. I know we all learned intersectionality is the first thing.
In my sociology class.
Read Kimberly Crenshaw, for fuck's sakes. I can send you a paper where someone delves through an argument between Crenshaw and I forget the other person's name, where this is literally fleshed out.
Well, it's quite possible that's true, but it's
a distinction. The reason I'm making the distinction is that it's easy for us to say that race doesn't exist when we can wake up and we have the privilege of our race not existing for us because our race is the default. But when I say default, this isn't just how people treat you. This is how society treats us.
So I will get the advantage of being treated as a light-skinned person for the rest of my life. I don't have to be afraid of cops when I actually, because the Karen effect.
I'm not even asking you to acknowledge the advantage.
But I just want to explain. So with light skin, we believe that cops work for us. That is basically the situation. Well, you do. Well, it depends on
we're getting
class,
so fucking
too.
derailed. Can I just stop before we get derailed? Because I'm asking you to acknowledge the privilege.
Can I just say my point?
You're missing my point, though.
Do you really want to miss my point?
Do you really want to miss my point, though?
You can come back to your point. Write it down.
Sure.
And so the problem that we often have right now with our police system is minorities, unfortunately, are terrified because they're afraid no matter what they do, they are going to be... It's the wrong thing. There's nothing worse than hearing something like you are resisting arrest. And okay, I think my point was also, because it sounded like you gave my we have advantage. I will always be given advantage for the rest of my life because racists exist. Because
well, for now.
Well, yes. Well, I'm hoping that it will get over giant sections in my lifetime. Sure. But I would say the point is that we should. I agree with you. It is easy for me to say because I have an advantage. And so for me to give up my race is an easy thing to do. It comes with no burden. And for someone with dark skin, they would say, they could, I don't think everyone would. I actually think, but they would say, it wouldn't be easy for me to give this up. Is that what your point was?
Yes, more sort of. It's more like we have the privilege of having an identity that doesn't include our whiteness. For example, whiteness is just baked into the system.
I see not Matt Slick backstage. I'm sorry.
So, like, for example, having a white actor play a white role really isn't that exceptional, right? In fact, it was the norm for a long time to have white actors play black roles. And it only became exceptional once that changed. And so I think what I'm talking is less an advantage and more of a privilege. Literally the ability to tune that thing out.
But I wouldn't argue that I don't have privilege. It's not about privilege. It's not about... I think I lived one of the most spoiled, entitled, sheltered lives, and that possible. That has nothing to do with it. I'm trying to say is
right, and I'm not trying to lambaste you or anything. I think I'm just trying to give perspective. So sure. I'm gonna try to link this to something that we've both been through this. We're both trans. When I first transitioned, I don't know if you've been through this exactly, but it's always something like it because I think right now the current struggle of trans women to just be women, to just get to be women, not have to think about being trans, that is so far away now than it ever was. And sure, we made great strides coming to this point, but I can tell you right now, like, I have claustrophobia and agoraphobia. I probably have always had it coming out of group homes and stuff like that. But I spent a lot of my time homeless, so it was really hard to identify that. I think I was mostly just coping through it. But when I first transitioned, I suddenly realized how vulnerable I felt. Just walking into a place and not knowing if how someone was treating me had to do with me being trans or not, right? Like, I could be rejected as a cis guy, and that's fine. That person just didn't like me. They're probably an asshole. But every time I got rejected for being trans, it really did mess with my ability to do something the next time, to have a positive outlook on being able to do anything.
Can I ask a question
I'm
about
so
that?
sorry that happened.
Well, the explicit overt things were few and far between, luckily. It was more the situations where I didn't know.
That's what I was going to ask.
And I couldn't let go of that. And it's always this thing now where, like, unless I feel absolutely passing, I can't walk into a place feeling fine. Like, I feel like myself, that's great. And I always feel my best when I'm being myself. But that creates this barrier between me and society for me to be able to interact with things. I no longer have the luxury of just being a cis male walking into a place and nobody thinking twice about it.
So I agree with you, but again, my joke, and it actually is a good example to bring it back to transgender.
I'm muting myself.
Because when when we go out into the world, I sometimes feel like people... Also, Bird, I'm muting you, but not because I don't love you. We just hear background noise.
Okay, and after you're done, I want to make one point and one question, but go ahead.
Absolutely. And so it annoys me sometimes. I feel like I've gotten over it. But my joke is, when you go to Walgreens, I'm just getting cereal or milk or whatever. When you go, you're seeing a transgender person. And I understand. I've gotten used to it over the years. And so the attention sometimes, and it has gotten easier because I feel like as you reassimilate back into the gender that you wanted to be in the first place, people treat you nicer, for better or for worse. And I still get a lot, especially the internet. Oh my God, the waves of when you log in, especially sometimes on some of those servers. But what I would say is that, and I told this to James, my lovely co-host, once I was able to find out who I was, once I was able to take a journey to be the gender that I wanted to be in the first place, now my most important topics have become a million other things. What I joke is that to me, that was character selection. It was me going boop, 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 boop. Cool. That's the way that I really was or like to be in the first place. And now that I feel the way in the inside, I stop using I feel like in another body and all this. I don't feel like I have dysphoria, which may take years and a struggle for some people. It eventually allowed me to do whatever I wanted. And I would like... I think that some of these features about us, I guess that's where I'll put the pause. I want to get not Matt Slick in. I can't even have room in for more than 4 people. But
I'm here for it. I was going to let Bird speak, by the way, after this.
Oh, Bird. Oh, my God. Yeah, that's right. I'm so sorry, Bird. Absolutely. We'll have Bird. Bird, please tell me when you're done then, and then I'll get him in.
Okay, I just mainly had a question for Melly and for you too, Amy. I heard the words rejected, and I want to kind of like flesh that out, or flush. Wow, that sounded sexual.
I could have used the word dejected as well, just like feeling pushed out of any situation.
Okay. I didn't know if it was like something specific that someone has done, or you're just talking in generalities.
The whole spectrum, though, right? Because sometimes you don't know if, like, at first maybe that person thought I was a real woman, and then I'm not sorry, real woman, but biological woman.
I got you.
And then suddenly they realize the truth, and then now they're like, or maybe I just did something weird, and it's really hard to develop a sense of self around that when you can't analyze things retrospectively easily like that.
Gotcha. Okay. So I mean, so Amy knows I'm a big dude. Like I'm a big fat, and I'll admit it to anybody. I don't care. It is what it is. So from that perspective, I kind of see what you're saying. I thought you were talking about something completely different. So,
well, do you ever? Let me ask you something, just for the sake of relating. Sure. Sorry if this is, a bit upfront. Hopefully, it doesn't say anything about me, and I hope it doesn't happen. But do you ever feel like someone is disgusted by you in the way that they treat you?
Oh, 100%. Sure.
But they won't tell you, right?
You can tell with eye looks or.
But they won't say
like
it. That's my thing.
Words, correct.
I'm autistic, so I miss 90% of those things to begin with.
Okay.
And then it's like if I do catch something, I'm usually avoidant of it to begin with. So I tend to avoid things if I don't even know that I need to. But then on the other side of things, it's like if I don't, then people seem to think I'm like clingy or something, and I'm just trying to maintain a friendship with somebody who may be going through a hard time or something. I don't know. And they're trying to avoid me.
Right, I got
and
you.
it's
I will say this about your. Go ahead, sir.
Oh no, I want to let you finish.
Hello? Oh.
Oh, I want to let you finish. Yeah. I think we're on delay.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, sorry about that. It's probably me. Can y'all hear me okay now?
Yeah, we just need to give you some space to talk, so just go with it, and you'll probably catch up.
Okay. So with that, can I tell people are discussing with me? Sure. But do I care? No. But that's after years and years of really just not caring what other people think. And so from that perspective, I definitely haven't always felt this way. Because, I would say within the last 10 years, growing older, it's like, who are you to even judge me? Like, I don't care. Yeah. You know what I mean? So from that perspective, yes. But I
9 times out of 10, I can do that now. And
right, I got you. Yeah.
And I totally feel like Amy was talking about it as well, where it's no longer like I feel like I'm in a different body or anything like that. Yeah. If anything, I'm more like I have celiac disease and I just hate it. That's the thing I hate most about my own body.
Yeah, no gluten, huh?
But there are times where it's just that sort of day where it gets to me. And it's funny because I have anxiety issues. So those are the days where I need it to not be that day. So, that's always tough. And it always feels like everything's more of an uphill battle than it needs to be. Because that's a lot easier to tell myself when I'm put together.
Gotcha.
There's always that one time where
I'm not.
Yeah. Nice talking to you. Nice meeting you.
Bird is sending so much love. Always welcome on. And I just want to say, I am going to bring in Matt, but I do feel it's universal what I'm saying, because
this is the
when
interconnectivity.
When you talk about being awkward and not fitting in and people picking on you, that's being a teenager. It sucks. And so having to, we deal with sometimes maybe an extreme version of that as LGBTQ minorities, as
we're preyed
women.
upon. We're preyed upon by bullies.
Yes, but I think it is universal, and I do want to try to reach out to people. See, the fact that we have 4 means I at least need to bring in number 3. Matt, what is up? We are impromptu debating you.
Hi, thanks for having me. And I missed the name of your other guest. What was your name again? Just
Ninetales or Melanie, whichever one works better.
I like Pokemon, so Ninetales is great. So that's awesome.
It's not the Pokemon name. Look at the spelling. But cool fact: the Japanese lore is way better.
Oh yeah. A lot of Pokemon are based on Japanese stuff.
Pokemon's a huge bastardization of it. So is Naruto.
I'm sorry. Well, I do like anime too. Well, thank you, Melanie / Ninetales. I appreciate that. And I might disagree with you. I consider myself a liberal, but I know you were kind of talking about Destiny and other people who I think Destiny's got some good and bad takes. No one's got all good takes, but
can I ask you one thing just for reconciliation purposes? Do you think corporate hegemonies exist?
Like corporations that are basically controlling society? Is that what you mean by hegemony?
Or controlling an entire sector of a market?
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Oh, okay, thank you. We can probably get along much better than I got along with Destiny then.
Well, it's a problem. Like, I've seen people go complete socialist and say that everyone should be given cars by the government. Like, I could maybe stand for some UBI. Like I'm okay with universal basic income, but I've heard people say it's okay to steal from grocery stores. Like I think Destiny recently covered a video on that if somebody's straight up just stealing, then that, we shouldn't be prosecuting them. I don't know your thoughts on that. Like that's too far. If that's considered liberal, I don't want to be considered that.
Okay, so you're coming in here to discuss theft right away.
Well, whatever. To put it this way, I consider myself liberal, and I've had people tell me I'm not liberal, but I don't know where I'm not meeting this litmus test for being liberal.
Is there a symmetry to it? Does the right wingers tell you you're the left and the left?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
No, I get told all the time you're far left by the right, and then I talk to some left wing people, and they're like, "Oh, you're conservative," and I'm like, "No, I'm not."
So
go ahead.
So this, I always find this fun to parse out because I make the distinction between centrists and moderates. Centrists are people who literally for show try to straddle the line of left and right without actually having any substance. Moderates are actually able to pick and choose which side of the aisle they like stuff from, but they're reasonable. They'll critique things properly, at least somewhat, and you can have discussions with them about these things, and they might even reconsider things. I don't know if you ever heard of someone named Tapiocaweasel. I don't agree with a lot of his takes, but I've talked to him and I love talking to him, and I've seen him reconsider his positions before, and I respect the hell out of that. So if you're a moderate, then I think, you're in a place where people are used to dealing with centrists. So you've probably had a lot of interesting interactions that I can't relate to. I usually just get told I'm either a bitch or not enough of a leftist.
Well, then you and I are in the same boat. Sorry, Amy, go ahead.
No, it just sounds like a purity test. I don't know how. See, when you described moderate, that sounded to me what being a centrist means. But I use at this point, I can identify with 3 to 4 of the labels. So it's like it makes me so apathetic sometimes to being any of them.
You need some sort of a purity test to differentiate things. If you
do.
want to say that all labels are ultimately meaningless, I'm down with that.
But then, purity test. It's all opinions. I've never met 2 people who have had the same political opinions. To me, that means that it's all bullshit because that never happens in science. And so, generally,
okay. Here's the interesting thing: is that I don't need a personal purity test because I actually come from a standpoint of science from my leftism now, and that is social ecology, which is the idea, and this goes back into what Matt's trying to talk about, which is the idea that we should all be thinking of ourselves as ecological players. So for me, I think theft is something that can have wavering morality depending on the need of the person stealing, what they are stealing, and the amount of accumulation of wealth of the person they are stealing from. I wish for a society, and I know this might sound weird because we're not used to it, but the more you think about it, the more it's really quite wholesome. I wish for a society that would feel hunger just if one person in it felt hungry. The whole community would feel hungry for that person until they were fed.
Well, would you like to? I'd love to talk about. I've got some hot takes on helping hunger because that's a major issue still in America. Like you look at school children. Was it Ted Cruz or no? It wasn't. It was Ben Shapiro or someone said recently, who he's got the worst takes that he can't imagine.
I could help him out very well. Ben,
you can change him.
Your wife and me make it happen.
Amy's like, I can change him.
Yeah, great weekend. I can guarantee it.
I can change.
Yes, you can change him. I can make him a nice Jewish boy.
Yeah. So, but he was saying that kids, aren't going to school hungry, which is the worst take ever, because he doesn't have that lived experience. He doesn't understand. There's many, many children in America who don't get a breakfast, don't get a lunch packed for them, come home, and there's barely anything for dinner. And then go ahead.
Sorry, I got to pipe in because I've been through that and I've never actually been able to make this point fluidly enough. So I was one of those kids, and you wouldn't guess that. I grew up in what seemed like a middle-class family and in group homes. I was like telling them like, look, I need big breakfasts and stuff like that. And yeah, it would make me kind of lazy in the first half of my day, but then I'd actually be able to think in the second half and do my homework later on. But I never got that. So I was just hungry throughout the day and always trying to find these weird ways to get junk food and stuff like that. It's so funny that you mentioned that, because in the group homes, they would give you these incredibly portioned meals because they were afraid like all the other kids would complain if you got like an extra bowl of cereal or something. And it's like, dude, I'm bigger than them. I'm the oldest kid in this house, actually. And I'm just asking for a second bowl of cereal. It's not that crazy.
You know what's interesting is, no, and that's, well, I'm glad you're able to.
So, the point I was trying to make was that appearances can be deceiving.
Mm-hmm.
You might see a kid walking to school every day and it looks like they have nice clothes and stuff like that. They might have just found nice clothes at the thrift shop, and that parent is desperate to keep up appearances so that way people don't think less of them and, you know, abandon them so that way they can keep receiving the help they get. But ironically, those appearances are part of the reason that nobody sees the issue.
Yeah, no, kids don't want to come to school looking like they can't survive. They don't want to come to school complaining about hunger.
And the parents.
Yeah, and the parents don't want to say, hey, we can't feed our kids. I mean, because then you could have social services on you or something. And so, yeah, this is a invisible problem at times. And sometimes I think, so I'll leave with this here a moment because I think there might be someone joining in soon too. But I think
Amy said there was enough for 4. I'm a pothead. I need more breaks to take tokes. She should bring in 4. What is she doing?
I think we're gonna switch into another topic. We're gonna switch back into atheism versus theism.
Why are you?
Do you mind?
Are you a
do you mind,
theist?
Amy, if
No, but we have someone backstage.
Nice.
I'll throw my hot take, Amy, and then I'll leave. And so
Sure.
So my hot take that liberals get mad at me on is I say we need to increase the amount of money we're giving to people for food. So you're like, why would they get mad at you for that? And I say, and then we need to restrict what they can buy. As in, you can get bread, you can get milk, you can get cheese. You can't be buying soda. You can't be buying certain things. We need to restrict the list, but we need to increase the money. And then also we need to have it tied to government ID. So that way we can track to make sure there's no abuse with what money we're giving people. And I have people saying, you're telling people what they can spend their money on. You're controlling people's lives. If someone needs to sell it to survive, then they're getting their money. And I just don't know how to handle that conversation because I'm like, well, and then they say there's not abuse with the system. And there's a lot of abuse. I've heard it firsthand. There's the numbers on it. There's, I think it's tens or hundreds of million. They point, that's 3% of the money. Well, I'll take 3% of hundreds of millions of dollars. But anyways, that's where I get liberals mad at me and they tell me I'm a conservative and I'm trying to control people's lives. So I don't know. But I appreciate the time, Amy. And you have room for 3, right, Amy? In this little
Yes,
yeah.
We are good to. I can
Does
go.
Ninetales want to tell me I'm wrong on that?
4.
I mean,
go ahead.
I'm more in it for the creationism because we're gonna be here for a bit.
Yeah. I'll leave.
I still think we should go 4-way though. Like, I'm here for. I have 3 holes. Just saying.
It was nice meeting you, Ninetales, and good talking with you, Amy.
Nice talking with you, Matt. Keep on coming on.
Nice talking to you too.
And all right,
I was definitely joking there. I'm pre-op.
And I
still have 3 holes.
I'm gonna see if
I would have had 4 holes if I was post-op. So,
but I want to trigger as many
creationists
as I can. So I have 3 non-function. Now I have 2 non-functioning pee holes. If I had 3 non-functioning pee holes, that'd be bad. I have 2 non-functioning pee holes because I'm intersex. They just chill there, and I thought everyone had them till I saw another Dilladongo. Do. Nature messes up. Anyway, I'm gonna keep on adding in a creation. I see someone else saying that they want to come on. You should come on only if you disagree with us. And you can give him backup. Because
Yeah, no, I actually study engineering, ecology, science, math. So talking to someone who's a creationist will be interesting.
Woohoo!
It's not a lot of stuff there that I can't traverse.
Right now, I am having fun teaching web design and taking biology.
What?
Yay, biology.
I'm sorry, but please do not encourage people to do web design unless they know that they're being pipelined to a company that makes cutout websites for people. Like if you know you're going to get a job at like what are those websites that make websites for you now? I
Wix or
yeah,
WordPress.
Then fine, learn web design. But otherwise just learn coding, like learn C++ or Node.js or something actually useful that you can use in like robotics. Just hear me out.
Excuse me.
I was 14 years old. And I love my grade 8 teacher. I realized that this was a different time. He got me into HTML through something he made, and I taught myself it. I taught myself JavaScript, I taught myself PHP and stuff like that. And by the time I turned 18, there were so few jobs on the market because WordPress came out that I gave up. I couldn't get experience for the life of me. I could not get experience. Nobody wanted to hire an 18-year-old with 0 web design experience. They were like, why wouldn't I just use WordPress? I shit you not. People said that to me.
Did you make websites and have a portfolio?
I couldn't make websites that were legitimate. I made like sub-legitimate websites and no one took them seriously.
GoDaddy.com.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though, is I got fucked. And like, this is a market that only makes sense if you're like aiming for that type of job. Anything else, like if you actually want to have practical skills that like will be utilized, get into something like JavaScript or
JavaScript, or PHP or MySQL.
No, but not server-side stuff. Okay, so you got to realize that PHP and MySQL can be useful, but it's almost never used in something like robotics nowadays. Well, I mean, if you're
it's used a lot in in databasing and web development.
So if you have a Windows XP machine running your robot, sure.
Or if you are in any company that has a has a website or is an in-house web developer.
It's all outsourced to WordPress. What are you talking about?
They do not all use WordPress.
They do.
That is where blogs go. You should learn HTML. You should learn how to do markup languages. You should know how to do CSS.
I hope there's a small business owner in your town willing to have you run their website and hasn't figured out how to use WordPress yet. I'm just saying, because once they do, they're not going to be paying you anymore.
Okay. I'm being.
I have firsthand experience with this. I taught myself
now. I'm being paid right now to be a website. I am a professor of undergraduate at the Washington.
Okay, I'm glad you're being paid for it, and you got creds. So good for you. I'm sorry. I thought I could have creds just by learning the skills myself off of w3schools.com. No.
You also have to make a portfolio. You have to make websites.
I did. I even started a company, and I had business cards and everything.
I would implore people to, I would implore them if they want to learn. I think you should learn C++. I think you should learn C.
Node.js, honestly, Node.js will run everything.
You should learn Java. You could learn PHP, MySQL. You should.
Java's outdated. Java's fucking outdated.
I understand. It's still a decent thing to learn.
I'm telling you right now, Node.js is the thing that's going to replace everything. I'm telling you, I'm seeing it firsthand as somebody who has worked in the industry and still uses this code for Internet of Things implementation.
What do you do? Do you work in C++?
I don't do any formal work. I've been learning engineering, but as far as like development of libraries, especially in the open source field, and then them being used in the market.
Python, another one.
And then them being used in the commercial field. JavaScript JavaScript and specifically Node.js is growing rapidly. There are so many. There are definitely like probably like 1,000 web-based libraries based off of JavaScript alone for web design. And then there are ones made for robotics. There are ones made for general I/O. There are ones made for signal processing. Everything that an engineer could want. Like when you start seeing, you know how like MIPS architecture is like, and Linux was like the underlying architecture. I keep saying that word for all the devices like routers and anything that had like a brain in it prior to Internet of Things. Well, that's about to become Node.js with like any architecture underneath it.
Sure, I would just say start small and build up to more complex languages. That would just be my suggestion.
JavaScript is like the least complex language you can start with. First of all, it doesn't have variable
JavaScript
types.
is not very hard. I would consider kind of like a medium.
It has incredible community support online, like the amount of forums and stuff like that are dedicated to strictly walking you through JavaScript problems.
It is actual programming as compared to hypertext markup language.
Yeah, it's object oriented now too.
Yes.
And you can use it, and it's like, what's funny is that the HTML DOM and the other DOM models still apply. They'll always apply. Sorry, I keep cutting you off. I'm very passionate about these things.
It's fine. I appreciate the passion. I want to actually, I think you went back for a second. I want to bring on Theus. We have Caught in the Middle and Solomon backstage.
Can I make my finishing point? So as somebody who is about to start a drone fleet company, wants to use web-based apps to actually run these drones and stuff like that, to basically write my own software, you can basically tie anything to a web page with Node.js that you run electronically with a brain. And because of the documented object model. Sorry, I'm done.
And I'm going to give my final thing. I taught I'm trying to think what age group they were. I taught engineering for kids and teens. And
software engineering?
No, engineering.
Oh, okay.
As in, like, we built robots, and then we coded the actions to do so. So this is my olive branch to you.
So this is full stack development engineering. I know. Kinda. I know. It's for kids and teens.
Because it's
for
graphical.
Kids and teens.
Yes.
Exactly. But yeah,
so
no, I'm into
appeal,
full stack robotics and automation myself.
My appeal to you and everyone, which I think you agree with anyway, is that it's more important to learn the underlying principles of we should be teaching our kids how to do pseudocode, how to be logical, how to think critically, and to think algorithmically. And
yes and no. No, hear me out. I think we should have.
I was going to say when it comes to programming.
Well, yeah, when it comes to programming, but actually, I thought you were going to go there with like math, because if I had learned math through programming, I would have been doing calculus in grade 9. I guarantee you. Like, that would have been my shit, because I was figuring out math problems that I'm still trying to figure out in like Newtonian physics now that I could easily write code for when I was 15.
So which part do you disagree with me on?
That not everyone would learn math the best this way. There are people who would excel in this field. I wasn't even
talking about math.
There are people who would excel in the traditional model of teaching math. But I'm saying for learning anything, even code, right? If there are some people who would learn code best in a lecture hall while doing minimal labs, and there are some people who would learn purely through doing the labs.
Didn't even use the word labs.
Why?
But it just sounds like when you disagree with me, it just sounded like you were disagreeing with me and disagree with me. That's okay.
No, I thought you were. I stated explicitly. I thought you were going there with like this being a teaching model.
Oh, I just think that. So programming, there's underlying. So a variable is a variable is a variable. It doesn't matter if it's JavaScript, it's PHP, or it's C++. So we should be, if kids are into programming, we should just be trying to teach them the concepts of programming, no matter what the language.
It does matter, because like in C++, you can't treat a float like an integer. You're definitely going to run into errors. And
I get that. Yes, sometimes you need decimal points. That
wasn't
my point. Most of them have floats and decimals.
Sometimes humans need to evolve and use variable types that don't rely on these shit.
You really feel like you're trying to discharge. I love you.
No. What I'm saying is, like, I think JavaScript is more evolved. because it doesn't have variable types for the most part. You can force variable types, but you do not have explicit. You do not need variable types.
Which part did you disagree with me on? Because I'm pretty sure JavaScript has floats and integers.
Yeah, you can force them, but you don't need them. You can say var. You can use var from top to bottom.
So you need an integer in C++?
You can even use let. You don't even use var. You can use let.
Ma'am, you are so not getting my point. I'm going to throw this book somewhere.
You're right. I did lose your point at some point.
It's okay. I love you. Let's bring in theism. Learn programming.
I hope PC never adopts emojis. Emojis are a scum of the earth.
In fact, STEM. That should be the theme of the last hour, ladies and gentlemen. STEM.
By the way, do you want to know what my favorite field is?
What?
Systems ecology.
Systems ecology.
I'm trying to learn ecosystem engineering, which is the full stack ecosystem development model. It's not real. I've had to develop it myself, so I'm developing a development model. No, I'm just kidding. But I do make enclosed self-sustaining ecosystems.
You said the words developers enough that I now have to go developers. All right, everyone loves Steve Bomb jokes or whatever.
Let me plug myself. I'm gonna plug myself and give people no way to find me. So I like making enclosed self-sustaining ecosystems, both the aquatic and non-aquatic types. I don't want to use too many fancy words, so I'm just gonna leave it there.
Woohoo! And with that, I'm gonna bring Caught in the Middle in.
Can I just say one more?
Is it all okay? One more. What's one more?
Cats are really fun to pet.
With that, Caught in the Middle.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
We're impromptu debating you.
Yeah, I see that. I'm impromptu here.
And he's caught in the middle.
Indeed. What are you caught in the middle about?
That's the name of my channel, actually, currently. I just started a couple months back. Like I was saying here in the comment section, myself, like Ninetales, apparently you have forgotten both of us. Because I used to appear with you and James on your after shows.
I just want to repeat what I said. I am so sorry. My memory must be fried or crappy. But
I'm the
you.
stoner here. What the fuck? I'm literally smoking weed here, and I remember this guy. I don't. I'm just kidding.
I could blame it on the neurological disorder, but I actually don't think that the neurological disorder affects my memory.
I have more, and they're better.
What is in the temporal lobe?
So yeah, I came on because earlier you were talking about can we get some creationists in here or some theists or something of that knowledge, right? So
absolutely.
I happen to be a theist, but not of the traditional sense. You don't remember me, so
you're not a trad theist. Oh, sad.
So I'll restate, my place in where I stand. I'm definitely considered animistic, shamanistic. I guess what the title most people would use would be paganism.
Oh, fun.
I'm not a Christian of any sort. I actually try to debate as many Christians as I can. But so I kind of fall into an area where I find myself agreeing with a lot of science, or at least not disagreeing. I debate atheists, but I always make that point known. Like, I'm not going to deny the science, or I'm not going to deny its plausibility. However, I personally like this other perception a bit better. And I make it very personal, right? I don't try to push myself on others.
We have a lot of pagans on this channel that I view as members of the skeptic and ranting community. I view the Abrahamic religions as the main reason why I am an anti-theist. I don't agree with paganism, deism, or any of them, but I think that you guys are often our allies, so it's hard to, So
there's a discussion to have here. Trust me, it's more about human behavior, though, right? Because I think paganism soothes the part of humanity that feels conflicted with reality by default.
See, I'm even different than paganism, right? Paganism is just the title that more people can recognize over animism or shamanism, right? Like if you say those two terminologies, a lot of people try to place shamanism within paganism, which is kind of
like,
honest, sort of.
You're talking to somebody who fits all of the categories of schizotypal disorder, so you're preaching to the choir.
Okay. Yeah, so animism is would be considered by most to be, say, the beginning of religious practices on at least this planet. It would be the time in which like before any gods or goddesses, before gods and goddesses were needed to put something that's such a broad thing into smaller categories.
So I understand this, if I may, as we would often try to associate our actions to a much greater cause through, divine worship that didn't always have like a name for the god we were worshiping or something like that, but we would have rituals for sure. And this ritualistic nature of, say, making a clay cattle that we then hunted and speared to show the higher powers what we wanted and get that result was very much the roots of how spirituality started in human behavior, according to many human behavioral biologists.
Yeah, kind of historically, archaeologically, yes, for the most part, yeah. Like just humans, I guess if you were to look at it from an atheistic point of view, humans trying to find reasons for XYZ.
Well, I think the key word, we weren't trying to find reasons, right? It's more like we couldn't at the time. We didn't have the tools to really say what caused weather. We didn't have communication lines between, a place in New Zealand and a place on the other side of the equator to make comparisons of weather. So we hardly even knew that seasons existed differently in different places. So a lot of what we believed was superstition. It was the idea that, well, maybe if I do this, because I feel like every time I've done this, it's rained afterwards, this will cause rain. And we need rain right now, so I'm going to do this.
See, I somewhat agree, and I find myself disagreeing in different sections as well. So I agree in the sense that, yes, so we do XYZ, and perhaps we get XYZ results. However, on the archaeological historical side, like we are finding more honest, these are actual archaeologists and historians that are finding more evidence. There's compiling more evidence of cultures that we didn't once believe had interaction with one another, having more interaction with one another. Some of it's being disproven, some of it's being proven. It's a lot of it's still up in the air. Try not to bring up too much of it because of all the skepticism, and I'd like to speak from an honest point of view on what the professionals say, not what I would like to believe.
And of course, we have to be careful, and because anybody can be a celebrity for saying something dumb on the internet now, right? So.
Right, 100%. I agree.
It also takes more courage, in my opinion, to be kind. And I keep on saying, every time I go onto these servers, I say kindness is strength. It really is.
100%.
And we'll have our conversation for a few more minutes. Then I'll add in Solomon. There is only room for 4, though. This will be the last.
We're gonna have to get together to talk about this more in the future. Amy, make sure I'm in your Discord. Because you have a Discord, right?
So, that's right. The Skeptic and Ranting Discord in the description below.
Thank you.
Ninetales, I'm enjoying as well. Hopefully, me and you can link up in the future as well. I'm down with it.
Because I've come from. So I almost want to know how you started, but apparently we only have a few minutes, and I'm the Solomon person I may have talked to before. I'm interested in that. That name is interesting.
My perception was that Amy's actually going to bring Salmon on as a fourth person, and I think she's going to keep you there.
Well, you don't
That's what I'm
have to
saying.
see because
I'm just not sure if we're gonna get to
I've
rails.
already given in. Normally, these streams are like it's supposed to be one-on-one or one on like multiple people, but it was just such a headache. Like they were just rabbling. I actually want to hear opinions that disagree with me. I like it when people insult me and all this stuff because it means like they don't have theological, philosophical, or empirical evidence. So I'm like, okay, but if you're just talking when other people are talking, that's just annoying.
I understand in the debate world that we're definitely going to have those that do the ad homs and the degradation schemes and whatnot. However, I don't take part in it personally. I'll sit here calmly and I'll just wait for them to finish, and then it shows to the audience if I'm the one that begins to talk, the other person goes to talk over me. People get tired of hearing the one person talk enough that they step in themselves. That the people do it for you.
Well, you want to hear either the silliness or someone sounding sane.
I recently talked to a theist though. This person literally had all these rules for how to have the debate that nobody agreed on. It was like the weirdest thing. This person was.
You're talking to a precept?
I don't know. But anyways, going back on the discussion before, just that way, in case it gets derailed with the new person added, I just want to let you know there's this lecture series by a professor. It's not really that high level. It's pretty easy to follow if you don't normally watch university lectures. It's by Dr. Robert Sapolsky. He's a human behavioral biologist. It's free on YouTube. He has other lectures as well. The one you might be interested in is the one on schizophrenia. Not saying you might have it. Just the link to.
I'm not diagnosed with it yet. PTSD,
well, I have
depression, anxiety. I have all of that, but not the schizophrenia portion yet.
I have schizotypal. It runs in the family. I'm pretty sure of it. I'm not diagnosed, but believe me, I fit the categories, and my mom has diagnosed schizoaffective.
Sorry. I have a relative that has paranoid schizophrenia. She believes that very powerful entities are chasing her. She's fled the country multiple times. She has ran for president before everyone thought that it was like a thing. And she has been deported from multiple countries because she just went in there. She didn't hide. She went in there and said, hi.
This isn't the point of what I'm saying, just to be clear.
Sorry, I can't help it.
But I've been through that. And to be clear, my symptoms are mostly mild. And I just sometimes go through very unstable periods where I just need some support and stuff like that. So on my end, it's nothing to worry about. My mom really suffers, though. And unfortunately, I'm very disconnected from her because a lot of her symptoms affect me. Schizoaffective, haha. But anyway.
One of my closest friends on this planet that used to actually steer very negatively towards me for appearing on Amy's show a couple years back. He has actually been diagnosed. It seems to be all the males in his family. So it goes all the way back to his grandfather, now his dad, now him. And the older they get, the further along they seem to progress. And it's schizophrenic something. It's like a very long title.
I don't know all of them.
They go into fits like that. And for him, they're lasting, a few months now. A few years back, they last a few weeks. A few years before that, it'd be a few days. And for his dad's actually been in an episode now for almost 4 years where he thinks that there's a certain type of bug that he thinks has invaded his home, invaded all of his animals. He's killed all of his animals in his yard. He's burned like all of his furniture and everything out of his home. He has a trap door that he uses to get into one section of his house that he needs, and he sleeps under his home. It's pretty bad. So
maybe you should get a pet that eats bugs that you can let run around, like an iguana.
That is only slightly better than the people that I talk with that are in the closet and tell me that the bugs in your butt make you gay.
This is so derailing. Oh my god.
Oh no, we're done the conversation. We're done because we're
I'm not.
Sullivan.
I'm not.
Okay. Your last point. You got a minute.
It's very natural for humans to be superstitious. I think even the smartest people are superstitious sometimes, just maybe about more niche things. But I think you know, as far as us being learning beings and learning to associate things, this was always a natural process of our brains growing and that capacity growing. And we should embrace this history of ourselves. I think the best philosophy I ever took on personally was that everything I do is a ritual that, you know, in one way or another, either brings me into the multiverse doorway that I want to be in, or shows those higher powers what I want and gets those results. And just believing that and acting upon that does, I feel like, makes me the best person I can be in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to add something. I was trying to tie it in earlier, and we kind of got off topic real quick. I was bringing up the historical archaeological evidence that we're beginning to see where multiple cultures, we're starting to see evidence of them being able to interact that we otherwise, you know, pre-modern history, we did not think was possible or plausible. However, even before that, I guess it kind of helps my narrative more. Before that, or without that evidence, I think one thing that I find very appealing for my way of thinking, theistically, if that's even a word, I don't know.
It is
is that it seems to be. So I also have an associate's in religious studies. It seems to be that almost all cultures on Earth have a pantheon of gods and goddesses, and or plus minus two, that closely resembles one another, all the way from a point of you have like this one quote unquote head that gives birth to two children that both always seem to be boys, or at least identify as boys. And and these two boys always end up in some sort of clash. The head almost always has something to do with an eye, whether that means missing an eye, has an all-seeing eye. Generally speaking, the all-seeing eye portion is always there. Whether that means for good or bad is another story. And there's always like a good son and a bad son, and this is one of my biggest faults with that I debate with Christianity on, because I would say that Lucifer / Satan is the good guy, because all of their faiths on Earth prior to Christianity, there's always the one son that ends up bringing, giving, finding a way to enlighten humanity, give some sort of knowledge or wisdom or way of doing things to humanity that greatly benefits, and then it always angers the other brother. And then you kind of see that pantheon prior to any of the Abrahamic faiths, any of the Abrahamic, Hebraic, Judaic, any, you know, those ancestors to Catholicism. Before those systems began to take over the vast majority of the world, all of these various pantheons, they just closely identified, and you would have some variants, but it's generally very small variances. And there are different practices amongst them, obviously. And I think that has a lot of ground to stand on, that in our knowledge currently, or what's debated as the most common quote unquote knowledge, is these people
Can
didn't.
I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
And I can't help it, because that'll be one more, and then after we'll get Solomon.
Yeah, for sure.
Is there anything that would convince you that animism isn't true?
I want, again, kind of like I started here, like I don't disagree that science is plausible, probable, possible, right? I don't disagree with it. So it's, if I wasn't an animist, if I didn't find solidarity inside of animism, I would likely be an atheist.
What about conservation of mass and energy, though?
Explain.
Well, energy and mass, not that they're that different, cannot be created or destroyed. So how can we have cause and effect without actually doing work on the effect that we're creating directly?
And then once you answer, I'm bringing Solomon in.
I guess I'm trying to figure out how you're relating this to, man. I'm sorry. Can you?
Well,
like,
if I'm assuming a cause from a higher force, like causing rain, and okay, let's do the old thing of like killing a spider causes rain because it's funny, not because it's real. Right. Let's say I kill a spider and I expect that to cause rain. How, like, if you think about it, that really violates the conservation of energy, because the amount of energy it takes, well, it can be spontaneous in its own right, or an equilibrium driven process on its own, but then it's like not caused by us. But like that small amount of energy probably isn't enough to determine a force great enough that would determine whether or not I get lots of rain or no rain, because I'm probably wanting lots of rain if I'm doing this ritual, right? So we can't determine like, oh, I got one raindrop, therefore I killed the spider and got the effect that I wanted.
I mean, I would say that all causes and all effects can create a ripple effect, right? So if you take a small pebble and you throw it in the ocean, you still see a massive ripple, no matter the.
But what happens to the
weight
amplitude
of
of
the
that
water
ripple?
in the ocean, right?
What happens to the amplitude of that ripple? How much work can that ripple do as a function of distance? Less and
I'm
less,
not sure.
right?
I mean, I'm not sure. Like, how many creatures or how many different things can that ripple affect? I don't know. I guess it depends on where you throw the rock in the water, right?
It can do
I
less
don't
and
know.
less. There are now. Here's now. I'm skeptical, but I'm also on your side on this. In examples of where there are harmonic resonance, that being that the amplitude of the wave actually multiplies as it interacts with other waves, keyword other waves, so other sources of power,
right?
It can do more work as a function of distance, but otherwise it spreads out, so it inherently loses energy to do that work on that water, right? So
correct. Yeah, again, it's what can be affected during the process of said ripple, right? I mean, because if one thing, it could be a chain reaction. Like if one thing is affected by it, then what sense of direction does that change for the one thing? And because that one thing's sense of direction is now changed, what new branch comes from said creature or object's, change of direction? And again, I don't have like a really good answer, right? So
the butterfly effect. And another way of thinking about this is that something like weather is a chaotic system. It's not, linear. Everything happens in essentially ways that are very hard to compute. And they often happen in ways that involve detractors and repulsors and neutralizers and all these other things, kind of like in quantum systems. I'm just pointing that out, find that interesting. But anyways, those effects do mean that it's very possible that, say, for example, an explosion could push up enough air, create an air parcel that warms, and if it contains enough water, will then initially warms, then cools, then becomes rain. However, it's very difficult to say that I know that an explosion here right now will cause that.
I think that's when shamanism became more of a thing, historically speaking, because there needed to be someone to say, that knew the moon cycles, right? And because that person knew the moon cycles, that person was able to know when different seasons were coming in. So if said ritual took place before said season came in, then they would know, like, hey, we need to start storing things, right? We need to start storing our preserves to meet season. Or during this season, things are generally bountiful. So if we create this sort of ritual, or have our people create said ritual, we're going into a season of plenty. And the shaman kind of became an interpreter of
and darn it, Solomon, if you come back, I will get you in.
And yeah, so going back on what you said with the interconnectivity thing.
In fact, I am only going to go for another 30 minutes. So if you disagree with us, I wanted to I don't know if Solomon was a theist or not.
It's funny because I'm about to start agreeing with him. So if someone does disagree, I'd be really interested to hear what they're going to say. Solomon, hurry up. But am I good to go? Or are you done, Amy? Sorry.
Yes, I'm just a little. I wanted to get him in.
We will. We'll get him.
Yeah, Sandman, come on, man.
He comes back.
Okay, so let me say one thing, and that is like rituals do have an interesting property, and how they could have done that, especially in a more interconnected sort of time than what we may have realized, where maybe a lot of these different cultures that we thought were more isolated may have had shared rituals and stuff like that. What I want to really focus on, or at least have you walk away with, is if not the Robert Sapolsky thing, because he is wonderful, and his lectures are really great too, like really fun to listen to. They is the idea of harmony, and particularly like how harmonics tend to work. Harmonics tend to be multiples of the base frequency. So it'll always be like 2 times the base frequency, or 3 times, or 1/5, or something like that. I don't know if you've ever done music or anything like that, but it works a lot the same way.
No, but I could understand what you're saying.
And in fact, the frequencies themselves tend to go up, tend to double with each harmonic. And so do amplitudes when 2 harmonic waves interact with each other in phase. So when this is when you get constructive interference instead of deconstructive interference, which we normally think of interference as being deconstructive and attenuating, like reducing the amplitude of the signal. But when you do have harmonics, these waves can actually cause insanely high amplitudes. And I think, maybe, just maybe, and based on what I'm learning about ecology and how instincts were often driven with natural cycles, and how natural cycles often have sort of sinusoidal waves, I'm often wondering if our instinct to do rituals and the times that we had the instincts to do them relative to the other things going on around us environmentally does have some sort of harmonic purpose to it, where it could have more impact than we originally intended, than we could have ever understood. And I know that sounds weird, but this is something that would make sense. If, remember the explosion thing, if you did want to get, well, you technically get 4 times, but if you wanted to get 4 times the amplitude of explosion from 2 explosions, you could set them up to be resonant with each other. So that way their waves hit each other in constructive interference. And now just think of, if we scale that down to rituals, think about all the rituals we do daily, for instance. How does that impact these natural cycles around us?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think that in the time sense that we would think of communication-wise, I think that maybe that holds some sort of plausibility, perhaps, maybe.
There would be a lot less noise than in this like environment, though, right? So it would make a lot more sense than it would now.
I love you both. I don't know what you just said, but
I tried to make that as like layman's as possible. I swear to God.
Okay, I love you. Thank you.
Layperson, sorry. Didn't mean to misgender anybody.
Just once I start hearing harmonic, it gets very wooey.
I explained it. It's the frequencies that are multiples of the base frequencies. That's another
wooey word.
It's not. It's the...
a little bit.
Okay, are you listening to sound right now? Do you know what noise is? Noise is a vibration that goes up and down.
Okay, now we're getting back to physics. So now we're getting a little bit. But
right.
Bring me from frequencies and harmonic to rituals.
Right. So well, think about, okay, let's go to actually noise and how you're hearing my voice right now. This is an electrical transducer that converts electrical signals to acoustic signals, and then that hits your eardrum and then causes it to vibrate, blah, 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 neurological blah. The whole point being that the signal that goes into that speaker is a sine wave with the frequencies that have my voice in it. These frequencies, our voices have harmony in it, for example. So have you ever done fem voice training, by the way? You know how they talk about
done
resonance?
Class.
So resonance, harmony, notes you do, minor versus major scale, that all has to do with how these frequencies interacts and the harmonies of different modes.
So you're just saying that it's fun?
No. Okay. So what makes a harmony sound good is that you don't get deconstructive interference when these two waveforms interact. So let's say I have frequency A and frequency B. Frequency A is some instrument and frequency B is another instrument. If they are in harmonic resonant tones with each other, they will actually boost each other and de-attenuate each other. So it's the opposite of quieting each other and knocking each other out. So, like you often learn, like you can cancel
You
to
can amplify a sound if they are both the same. And
when they're in phase. So phase has to do with whether or not you're in the sinusoidal curve. If you're going down, up, or back down again, there's technically 4 different phases if you're thinking about 9 degrees each. And so when they're in phase, they will constructively interfere. And the reason is that if you have a harmonic that's a frequency that's a multiple of another, so say I have one cycle, then the harmonic frequency will have 2 or 3 cycles within that, and their phase will fit perfectly with each other, which you can't do with anything that's not harmonic. So think of it like one sine wave, one big sine wave, and then another sine wave with 2 cycles in that, and another sine wave with 3 cycles in that. And those are all harmonic because they can all be in phase with each other.
I guess that when you're saying all this, I'm trying to figure out back to the ritual. So yeah. There we go. Back to the ritual.
For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So try the transducer that's giving you that sound wave. It's doing that by doing work. It's a
are you saying
it's a cone that's being moved to create air pressure vibrations in that sinusoidal way. So think about
saying that even amongst these cultures that maybe didn't have interaction with one another, these harmonics, these waves may have resonated to all of them.
Well, instinctually, because there are a lot of ecological cycles that drive all creatures that are basically sine waves or have some sort of harmonics to them. We're very bad at understanding them because they're again taking place in this chaotic or quasi-chaotic system actually that it's very hard to compute and model in the ways that would give us these specific answers. I'm a firm believer that you can describe an entire ecosystem in what I call the frequency domain. So we think of a lot of charts as something that happens over time, right? X with respect to T. The frequency domain is X with respect to frequency, or yes. So we actually divide the different signals by their frequency, and then each frequency has its own kind of amplitude, and that's the amount of work that frequency is doing for the system. And I'm getting really deep into signals and systems and stuff like that, but the key idea is that these interactions that how some people feel really weak, have seasonal affective disorder and stuff like that. Regardless of what you think causes the affective part, I think the seasonal part has to do with us having neurological, metabolic, generally biological drives that are meant to sense and react to these cycles like a feedback loop. Mm-hmm. And that makes us more likely to, for example, want to do a ritual like on the equinox, which I know seems trivial because we can see the sun, but what about
just passed pagan holiday, by the way, yesterday?
Yeah. But think of I'm in North America in Ontario, so I do feel the effects of the equinox in the springtime and fall very strong because you're almost like if I were way in the Arctic, I would just notice that the sun would rise, but here you it's almost like the middle of the day becomes morning. It's really fucked, at least for me. And so for me, that almost thinks okay, so there's more red frequencies and stuff like that. How does that affect my metabolism? How does that affect what I want to do from day to day, my motivation? And how would that affect everyone else? And with that mass impact, how does that create maybe a mass product, an ecological product?
There can be secular versions of rituals, like things like getting coffee in the morning or having holidays. Those are the types of things that I kind of want to take from religion and do them better.
Awesome.
At least get to eat on the holidays. I mean,
that's right. None of the fasting holidays, all of the eating holidays.
Yeah.
But also
I'm
think
good with
about
all
this.
those.
Think about grieving, right? And like, let's say like, someone dies and the family's grieving.
Sure.
Maybe there are rituals they can do. Maybe there's like a way to cry and sing at the same time in harmony, so that way you all feel as one instead of alone in those periods. Because I've never dealt with death directly, but I've talked to a lot of people who have, and they said they.
Or no, I guess I'm not sorry. Now
Yeah.
that
Oh, okay. So this actually brings.
Wait,
me
you
to a
want me
topic,
to
right?
experience death directly?
When you say something like that, I'm so used to someone saying that they died. I think I just in the back of my head wanted to say sorry, and then it registered what you said, which is the opposite. You have not had to experience death. Though grieving is an important process. That's why I think that religion can sometimes give people the impression that they're going to get a second chance to say, I'm sorry, or try and make amends, when I think that if you don't believe in that, you will have a higher chance to actually reach out to that person the first time or in the lifetime that and make right now.
I want to let Caught in the Middle in, but I just want to say also dancing is like a good example of what I'm talking about here.
Yeah, I wanted to bring it back to the death thing, right? So earlier on in the conversation, you brought up energy dispersion, right? And equal opposite, so on and so forth. Okay, so obviously, when we're living, I think that we could all agree that we're exerting some sort of force, some sort of energy on the planet. We have abilities to do all kinds of things, but even just living and breathing, sitting in this chair, we're doing something.
We're causing flow more than anything, if we're being honest.
So when this physical being passes, right? What energy is exerted minus if we were to just say, hey, we're just going to turn into bug food and we're going to just go back into the earth, create some dirt, and maybe something grows out of our 100+ pound selves.
So
maybe
we can
not.
answer this.
But what else goes on from there?
We can answer this ecologically. So what humans have done is we've essentially been ecosystem engineers over the past, millennia
I should
or
say,
so.
what if anything goes on there?
If we were to die right now,
the terminology in the past few 20 minutes has been driving me crazy. I'm trying very hard not to criticize, and I'm trying very hard.
Oh no, you can criticize it, but when it's
it's very sloppy language. Very sloppy language.
Oh, I'm guaranteeing you, I'm not using sloppy language. I'm using as scientific language as I can.
I
maybe you're struggling. That. Maybe this is a skills issue on your part. I'm I'm good. Trust me.
It could be, but as far as I could tell, so let's do a test. As far as I could tell, the only thing that happens is that we die and that the animals eat us and that we then get put back into that chain.
No.
Okay. What else happens?
So for
I want to know too.
So we've built up a lot of resources in particular ways that have to break down in particular ways. This is called waste theory. So for example, capitalism has an awful record with race theory because
when we die, what else happens?
Oh, you're talking about afterlife shit?
Anything. I don't know.
Well, we were on the topic of energy dispersal, but yeah.
Energy we have to be more specific. Well, no, energy can do work. Energy doesn't always do work. Sometimes it's a wave.
Okay, what else happens after you die?
In what sense? Jesus.
What happens with that?
You won't lose constituents if you answer that question, I promise you.
I don't know how to answer it anymore.
That is the answer I wanted, which is nothing. There is nothing else. You have.
Okay, so
I love you.
So Christians believe in a soul, right? I don't so much believe in a soul as much as I believe that they're. I guess the best title for it currently would be something like energy, right? So, for instance, I think that almost everything on Earth holds some sort of energy, whether that you want to call it a soul or whatever, right?
Well, all matter is energy, so it's kind of hard to say no to that.
This portion, this meat suit that I'm walking around in, right? Whether it could just be just meat all on its own with a heart beating, it keeps me alive, and a brain that functions in some fashions at least. What happens to this physical, like what happens after this physical form were to pass away? Like my brain ceases function, heart ceases function, and blood stops flowing, lungs stop breathing, and I I guess in today's world I'm either going to be cremated or buried, and hopefully I'm not buried, because I'm superstitious about that, admittedly.
You won't mind it, don't worry.
But
neither will I.
So for me, I would say that I'm not sure exactly what my energy does. I don't know, but I like to believe, and the argument that I would try to make is that the energy from myself goes on to do something else. I'm not sure what. In my thoughts, I would say that there is some sort of afterlife, although it can't be proven directly, obviously.
I like that we're going to be a meal for something else. I don't want to be eaten. I don't want to die, but
of course.
we've been eating them for all these years. It's about time that they...
Yeah, no problem. No problem what happens to the meat suit. Like those sort of things are going to happen regardless of my thoughts of the energy that passes forward.
The meat suit will pretty much be the only way that you could do conscious work as like you're going to do work by releasing heat around you and stuff like that as a corpse, right? But it's not going to be work that is differentiated by your conscious will anymore. The only way you can do that now, whether or not you have a conscious will afterwards, I don't think it's impossible. I don't think it's impossible that we may gain like an ecological consciousness. Like suddenly, what we experience right now is then experienced on a broader level. But there would be no way to act on that anymore. You would be like a cloud in the sky.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with that, right? So I am of the thought process that I agree. Once this meat suit has turned into bug food, or simply been dispersed as ashes, which maybe isn't so great for bug food.
It's great for fuel. I mean, if we're talking about fuel sources,
I would have to think. I don't have to think, but I do think that this energy, or whatever it may be called in different formats, would pass to, say, a different plane, or pass on into the universe as a conscious mind, or maybe part of a conscious mind that may not be able to interact physically, but interacts in some mannerism, which and I have my own thoughts, and
you want to feel like your death was meaningful, right?
I don't really care whether it was or not, honestly.
Then why do you want to have an impact? So why do you want to have an impact afterwards?
I think that it makes sense. It's not so much the impact. I think that it makes sense that something else occurs within. I would say all. I would maybe press the word all.
I need you to elaborate how it makes sense, though.
I think that it's something that has been practiced since humanity has been humanity, and we're even showing evidence of it in prehistoric humans, like the Neanderthals, Cro-Magnons, Venisovans. We're showing this practice all the way back into what if we go with the evolution theory, which okay, sure. We're even seeing it as far back as maybe not Lucy, but we're seeing it as far back as can be noted with bipedal
grieving behaviors. We actually see ritualistic grieving behaviors in primates today. They're obviously
we see it in whales.
They're not that complex, right? But they will show that they're very sad that this primate has died and mourn over it for a few days over its body. And here's the thing: is like, I think that this is just more evidence that humans have always been trying to fill this void within our souls,
which is possible. Which is possible. I don't deny that that's possible, right?
It's to me, it doesn't need to be too complex. And I think if you want to have that purpose to your death, you can actually essentially don't either donate your body to science, become an organ donor. I think that those are very valid ways of doing that in modern society, but also like think about getting buried somewhere out in the wilderness where your body will be decomposed and put back to the ecosystem. Because I'm telling you right now, one of the most precious things that we are losing, whether you're a pagan or not, is our forest, is our ecosystems, the biodiversity around us. As somebody who's trying my best to learn systems ecology down to the mathematical modeling level, it's one of the most devastating things we can lose, and we can't get it back the same as we have it now. If we do, it's a fundamental truth, actually, that you have hysteresis to ecosystem degradation, meaning that the path that you take to lose that ecosystem will fundamentally be different than the path you take to get back. And it takes more work to get back than it takes to lose the ecosystem too.
We are definitely destroying the vast majority of other species on Earth. That's
I realized
right
the distinction of what you were saying before. All work is energy, but not all energy is work being done.
Sure, like potential energy type of thing.
Kinetic. Potential energy does not do work.
But yeah, so two things that I tie together. I'm just bringing us back.
Well,
again real
that's
quick.
what you were just saying. You were saying. Never mind. That's okay. What were you saying?
I'm going to try to reel us back again. So
yes, in fact, I will say 10 more minutes. I'm probably going live again because I promised James that we were going.
Wait, I just did all of this and we're not even live. I'm trying to be a science communicator here.
We are live right now. Wait a second. This isn't live? No, we are absolutely live right now. I'm saying I'm going live with my co-host in hours from now as well. We're going to be doing another stream.
Can I be on that stream too?
where was that going? Okay, so
woman.
trying to bring things back in, trying to put a lasso on this thing. Okay, so I think once again that bringing it back further back in the conversation. So we're talking about energy dispersal. We're talking about afterlife. We're talking about why it is that I come to the conclusion that I come to. And earlier on, we talked about how all of these cultures across the planet, and as far back as we can tell archaeologically, have these similar practices. Like I find it so T-Jump actually, I would say it's a valid argument in some ways. T-Jump actually brought up, I asked the question, why is it that in so many cultures across the face of the earth that shouldn't be able to interact with one another, do you always see a god or goddess with one eye? Like, why is that a thing? And T-Jump's answer was, well, that was people's way of explaining everyone was always in combat or war, and that the elderly folks would be missing an eye, and they were considered the wisest of them, and that's why you would consider the god or goddess with one eye to be this wise being that you would listen to. And I think maybe that holds some plausibility. But we're also talking about cultures we don't, like more cultures that were in solitude, away from other cultures as well, right? This fits so many different brands, so many different cultures that I also find that to be a plausible answer in some, perhaps, but it also doesn't fit the narrative of, hey, if we have, said group of Native Americans that we don't believe had much interaction with other Native Americans, but this group of Native Americans or this African tribe or each one of them, there's so many dozens of them, if not hundreds, if not, I guess, possibly thousands, that still have this said one-eyed God. How do we make sense of that today? Like, why were all these cultures seeing and acknowledging the same sorts of things that we don't believe we're communicating, right?
Because they're not hive minds, but they're not like so neurologically distinct that they can't have the same ideas. Think about what it might mean for any human for something to be like a giant and single-eyed. What could that mean, right? Like you were talking about, like the all-seeing eye and stuff like that. We clearly had like a lot of mysticism about light and color and our ability to see from an early start, it wowed the shit out of us until somebody realized, like, well, actually, not only do other animals have this, like, it's literally like a linear, like, evolution, genetic evolution tree that you can draw from the start of like the earliest eyes to the ones we have now. There's not even that much differentiation between mammals and non-mammals as like photoreceptors.
Sure.
There is, just to be clear, there is differentiation, just not that much.
Sure. And again, like I understand, like in a broad spectrum, like I could even personally say that I even believe that in certain ways, just as I brought up with shamans earlier, shamans were really only there because they were the people that knew the moon cycles. Therefore, they knew the right time. I know I'm bringing this in on something.
But can I stop you from being reductive for the second time? Because it is somewhat culturally insensitive. For a large part, shamans were healers in the sense that they either knew about herbal remedies or they were psychological healers. So like with psychedelics, for example, that's the one we're often familiar with, but also spiritual guidance and stuff like that.
And I just
they were considered.
Go.
It was a supposed like natural right to somebody who takes a role of the community, because it was often needed at that time. There wasn't like any standardized way of doing that.
Sure. And nothing I'm saying is trying to denote that, right? I'm bringing in one function of a shaman, not all functions of a shaman. I'm bringing in one that most people can probably relate to a lot more specifically.
I thought it would be drugs. I thought most people have taken mushrooms at this point, at least.
So
well, at least listen to Terrence McKenna, man. Like that guy sounds crazy, but I'm telling you, he knows his shit.
So bringing it back. So all these cultures have
he's
this
a conspiracy theorist.
Okay, don't listen to him on that. But no, I'm pretty sure most of the stuff I've heard is just like psychedelic stuff, to be honest.
So these cultures had these shamanistic tendencies, right? However, a very direct thing that I'm trying to hold in on right now is this one-eyed person, right? Like, how do we direct this down to all cultures? All came up with this one-eyed person or being. Like, how do we explain that?
It wasn't all cultures.
Yeah, I think it's just an anthropomorphizing. We're taking an element that we take for granted, and maybe by limiting the sense, there's just metaphorical usage to that kind of symbolism. I'm not sure that there's a supernatural, paranormal explanation. I'm not saying you're saying that. Right. I'm just skeptical that there is a deeper meaning other than it kind of looks cool, and that maybe metaphorically, if you take away a sense, you sometimes have an amplification of another, though that doesn't always happen either. But I don't know. I would say that I'm open-minded. I'm open-eyed.
Pun intended.
I
think that it's better.
It's not as abject as you're saying it is, so it's not all cultures.
I'm saying many across the globe, right? I'm not saying every single culture had the exact same practices. What I'm saying is that this being fit in the same role.
I've also heard that many cultures across the globe have two eyes.
They do
most of the time. It's almost as if they were assigning meaning to not having both eyes.
If we bring it back directly, we have the one-eyed person who almost always seems to be at the top. Also almost always seems to share the same role across all cultures.
Except
you
in the
never
Bible.
you never see like the one. Oh, forget the Bible, man. Who cares about that thing?
Which I'm just saying that three-eyed people are definitely the lowest. We're just.
But you never see that one-eyed being
Goliath was
like
to be
near a bottom of a
right?
pantheon, right? Like of all the important gods and goddesses or beings, you never see that one-eyed being toward the bottom. You never see the one-eyed being as like a son or a daughter. You always see the one-eyed being at the very top of the pantheon.
Same with the one that controls lightnings, regardless of how many eyes it has, to be honest.
Sort of. I mean, if we were to look at the Sumerian, Assyrian, Egyptian side, the Middle Eastern side of things.
But now we're getting into more equitable terms to begin with, right?
I'm saying that they had a one-eyed being that was still like the top of the wisdom chart, so on and so forth, but didn't practice a lightning tendency, right?
You know,
So we still have the one-eyed
think
being sharing the same role without the things that we may add to it. You know,
I
I'd
think
rather
more
stick to the
people are
ones
into
that do.
Shinto than they realize. Maybe not Shinto specifically, but like
Maybe an off branch of an off branch.
The reason that my name is Ninetales is because I've always had like this weird identity I could never explain. Probably was just like me trying to have like it's the identity I formed to control my schizotypal side, and that's the nine-tailed fox. And the reason it's the nine-tailed fox because when I read the lore for it, because I just got curious once after kind of liking the media that bastardized it, the more I read about it, like it literally just like split me open and made me realize like in a way that can't be described. It's totally ineffable. And I like every time I read it, I cry, and it's like I've never read it before, and it's telling me about myself again for the first time. And you know, people probably had that experience with all sorts of things, and it didn't need to become necessarily spiritual, but the lore is particularly comes in into spirituality in Japan in a lot of different ways, and in not just Japan. The divine fox thing is very Asiatic in its lore, but that does have to do with interconnectivity and various interactions with groups and stuff like that. That's been well documented.
Yeah, one of my hypotheses has to do with war. It's what like the people who've been to war and different things as well. But I don't want to go into that right now. We're very limited on time. And I think that Amy's actually probably reaching her 10-minute mark already.
I was just saying we got 4 minutes to figure out our outros, and then I'm gonna head out because I'm coming back on later today anyway.
Yeah, and I'd love to continue the conversation at some point in time. Amy, I've actually been trying to reach out to you, but it was on Twitter, and apparently maybe you don't use that too much. But I was gonna try to get you to come on the show.
I actually feel like I've been checking it lately. Damn it.
My my account that I joined with is not the right account. I have to leave and join with my proper one somehow, which is not easy right now. And
what is your name on Twitter? I don't see you.
Oh shoot, your messaging symbol's gone.
It's at M9 Scarlet. Letter M, number 9 Scarlet.
I was gonna say I sometimes I have to respond to my emails. I know I've seen a few emails.
There,
the Muslim
I just,
apologist
replied to one of your posts
that.
on there.
Woo-hoo.
Oh God.
But yeah, I will say this has been fun. It was a whole jarbled mess at the beginning, and then it got into.
No, it wasn't.
Oh
I won that debate. Don't even try to reframe it.
The debate, as in, like, you know what we're talking. Do you even know what I'm talking about?
I literally had someone come in to support my argument, specifically me and only me.
I would have been against that argument, though. I was on Amy's side there.
I think
you seem like a bit of a bootlicker. I don't know.
I was talking about like we were in Discord and we could not hear over each other. That was a garbled mess. Not like you. I don't even know if you weren't on that. You weren't part of that.
Shit show of a debate thing you started earlier.
See, I only care about the part where I came in
the quote unquote nasty channel.
Okay.
That was a shit show.
That's what I mean. It was a garbled mess. That's what I'm saying.
Please don't stream Doobie streamers. Don't stream Doobie. Just don't.
I love you. I love both of you.
Okay,
yeah.
This is the thing, right? Like this.
See, I remember. So much love. That's right. Woohoo! You didn't have it. You had a different name. You weren't caught in the middle.
I was KO Champ, FTT.
Oh!
Yeah.
See, yes, I know. Yes, no, okay. I know you. I know KO. I know freaking.
There we are. Okay. Yeah. See, you
I'm sorry. That is how my brain works. Apparently, it goes like that. What's up, KO?
Same. What's up, Amy? How you been?
I've been pretty good.
I've been catching your stream here recently. I've just been not very outspoken, just kind of chilling. I try to watch a bunch of you guys. I honestly, I watch more of the atheist community than the Christian community, unless I'm there to be angry.
I can understand. I have been only recently lurking more on Christian and Muslim streams because we want to go over there, I think, now. But besides that, I can understand. They attack each other a lot more. It's kind of funny.
Yeah.
They like do a lot of like takedown and
I mean, with
each other.
32,000 denominations, they got a lot to argue about.
Indeed. But I mean, is there anything you would like to say? This has been our episode 7 impromptu debate. I'm about to wrap it up myself, but I'd like to give you an outro. What are your final thoughts?
I mean, you guys can catch me at Caught in the Middle 0823. Unfortunately, Caught in the Middle was taken when I tried to start the channel a few weeks back, so I had to add the 0823 in there. And the point of my channel is to bring different people on that might be considered on some sort of social extreme spectrum of different things by different people, by different populations, whether it be Christians, Mormons, which I consider very weird, flat earthers, globe earthers, everybody would decide that someone else is a social extreme, but they have to have some sort of extreme ideology they might stand behind. And then I kind of want to go into a devil's advocate kind of dialogue where I'm just kind of probing around. I don't do the debate thing on my channel. I want to do the debate thing on modern day debates and other places. But I want to have conversations, discussions, and I want to see if they could share any middle ground with what they might consider to be their social opposition. And I want to do it in a constructive manner that, people can relate to and hear out. And I think that oftentimes leads to more important things to others, more meaningful things, more ways that people can consume information a little better.
Absolutely. And hopefully you can have fantastic dialogues.
I hope so. And I hope to have you on as well. Like
I would love to be on
reach
there.
Out.
Well, I swear that I've been getting slowly better because I've been chastising myself. I didn't see you in the Twitter sphere, but if I do, I'll either reply to you on if it was maybe an email or retwitter me, and I will do.
Yeah, just a few minutes ago, I actually sent a little comment on your latest tweet as well.
On Amy Newman tweets?
Yeah.
All right, I'll take a look.
Yeah, I'll send another one real quick. There we go. But yeah, hopefully we can get that going. I'd love to.
Absolutely. I'll come talk about my weird views on consciousness or a whole bunch of fun things.
Yeah. I mean, atheism would be considered a social extreme to some, right?
To some, I guess so, right? We're so normalizing it. But you're right. I'd love to come on and talk about atheism.
Yeah, see if there's any middle ground you could have with, some, I don't know, other people. Because I don't want to keep calling them weirdos. Some of them do find love and whatnot within their stuff. So.
That's right. Though I will say, can I just tell you, it's the normal people that you got to look out for. I'm just going to point that out.
Yeah, the wife says that all the time. The most normal, peaceful people are the ones to really watch out for.
Oh,
you got to be friends with the weirdos.
That's a whole other thing. I always say I always implore people to be a pacifist, but if you are a pacifist, just remember that it's one of the most dangerous positions to hold on to.
Yeah.
I cough.
All right, Amy, I'll jump off of here and do your thing. And hopefully I'll catch you and James later. Tomorrow I'll have Simon Adebaugh, the White House press reporter who's been kicked out of the White House briefings a couple times by, what is it, Karine Jean-Pierre. He's also appeared on Fox News a few times. Yuck. But all the same.
It does happen.
He's widely known, and hopefully we're going to have some good discussion there as well. That'll be tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern.
Woo-hoo. Go check out Caught in the Middle. What's the numbers?
0823.
You need like an exclamation mark or something.
I do. Totally. All right, Amy. Thank you. And again,
lovely having you on again.
Yeah, it's great to see you again.
Great to see you.
Always love. Adios.
And all right, that was fun. That was actually a lot of fun. I had a lot of good back and forth. Like I said, just the very beginning. I don't even care if people disagree with me. and it's what I'm learning as a moderator. I've gotten to a point where it's like you want to have the people who are debating feel good. Not on this all these people in this panel are amazing, but especially in like formal debates, you want to be nice, and yet I want to be nice to the audience. That is what I'm learning, and so need to be more not pushy, but just get in the ring and push them back to the sides and stuff like that, so people can hear what they're saying. And though the conversation was great, I enjoyed the back and forth. I'm going to do all my normal shilling stuff, and then I guess I'll see you y'all not too far from now. If you would like to be produced, please contact me here. I am queer, though that has nothing to do with anything. I just love rhyming it. God, I can't stop it. Anyway, it's right down there in the chat. I will help you out. Woo-hoo. Sending so much love. Randolph was a lovely stream on his, and I like to think my own, right? Because I'm a panelist as well as T-Jumps and Tacos and everyone out there. Peter, the Theist Helpline. Ring, ring, ring. Mm-hmm. And then I think that's going to be it. I'm going to try and get more and more content up there. I have a premiere that I was supposed to premiere last night, but it's going to premiere in the coming day or so, which is one on slavery. It's called Don't Beat Your Slaves, something like that. And yeah, it's a good suggestion. Probably don't own slaves. That would have been such an easier commandment. Oh well. Anyway, I hope you had a fun time on this episode of Impromptu Debate You, Season 1, Episode 7, the topics that weren't here at the beginning, and yet if you're watching this after, they will be right down there. We would appreciate it if you hit that like button. The like button says, hey, YouTube, you should send it out to more people. I was about to say not cat videos, but cat videos are actually fantastic. You should actually like all cat videos. You should hit the follow at twitch.tv/Amy Newman Skeptic if you want to go join the Twitch team, or if you don't mind subscribing, it really would help us out. And you'll get to see our premieres, join our live streams, and we'll get to say hey to you. Hi. Mwah. I do want to thank my co-host, as always, James W., along with Beamsy. Have to say it. I think I'm on 7. Along with, we had fantastic guests on this panel. We had Bird come on. We had Ninetails come on. We had Caught in the Middle come on. We had lots of people come everywhere. Oh, my. As well as all the lovely people in chat. I'll say goodbye to you if you guys and gals say goodbye, and everything in between. Rubiks was kind of, I want to send a shout out to love to Rubiks, who was kind of saying hello to us like before it went to a My Little Dumpster Fire doll. Once again, I don't mind a dumpster fire. If it's just nobody wants to hear that. That's also my face during a good O. Anyway, and of course, the most loveliest people of all, viewers like you who make this channel even possible. If you enjoy the show, hit all that stuff. We talked about that. The bell icon, or hey, why not leave a comment once the video's done? You can also leave a super thanks. We'll be super thankful. I love the word super because it could just mean whatever you want. Like, We're going to supersize your fries. Hey, this supersize is half the size that it was last year. You signed a contract, take your fries out of my McDonald's. After the show, the Skeptic and Ranting Discord server will be opening up. I need to talk. I need to give Math Pig a handy or something, or whatever pigs are into. Buy him a new math book. I need to get ranks, and I need to get a whole bunch of other things that would make it more like an experience system, more fun, as well as as well as all the people in the description box, like our Twitch subscribers, our channel members, our Patreons, and in fact, if you're 2 out of the 3, you are a member of the Girl Deck. It's 15 feet long, very specifically counted by Kent Hoven himself. You wouldn't think he'd have the time, but now that he doesn't have a YouTube channel, he has lots of time. There's been a lot of people getting taken off the things. You know, I want to wish 10 to 12 years to a certain Dawaist. You know, I'm sure you'll have a lot of time to think over the collab. Trying to avoid not becoming a boyfriend. Anyway, are we talking about Discord servers? As well as, yes, the best way to help us out is by checking out our Patreon at patreon.com/ABNewman and becoming a supporter of the channel. We're almost at 200 a month. Woohoo! Thank you so very much. It helps keeps the bills on and gets more of these props and all of this fun stuff. But yes. Oh, and I said I'd send that in the chat. Patreon.com/ABNewman. I am AB Newman. And Discord. Before I'll send it out in there too. You're going to hear the clicking from my mechanical keyboard. Hoobity boo. There we go. Ladies, gentlemen, everything in between that tends to trigger the fundies. I need to do episodes on that because nothing drives them crazy. Let me tell you something. It's not that it's gone up. Like, I'm sure the LGBTQ numbers have gone up because of acceptance. But if you want to know where all this media coverage has come from, they just realized that they were losing ground. And now they're like, oh, shit. Like, do you think I, for the love of me, have ever... I didn't know about the drag queen story hour. I'm trying to think of another thing. Do you think I give about sports? Really? Do you think that is the main thing? All these issues, they have scoured because we don't give a shit about them. Well, we give a shit once you start banning us from, you're not allowed to pee anymore and all that. But like, it's political, and I hate politics. It doesn't have to be political. It's not like I chose those issues, let me tell you. Oh. Anyway, that's a totally different story. We'll come back and deal with identity later because we should be talking about religion, folks. It really is all religion. Especially those Abrahamic faiths. I mean, it says kill us, and we've just been watering it down so much that we're now arguing on the internet. But it's religion, sponsored by. Anyway, we'll be back on later, having fun with James. All sorts of stuff. I love you all. Check out all that, and I'll see you later. I love you. Oh, and I'm going to be singing the music. Gosh darn it. Okay, here we go. Shoop, doop, 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 boop. Boop, doop, shoop, doop, doop, doobity boop. Shoopity boop. Grumpy Diana, Scott, Ian, and Pat, you boobity doobity boo. Boobity doobity doo. Here is the Discord. It is amazing. Dale and davegar, Regos, Mark, and Farron are amazing. Oh my god. Or anti-god. Rachel, Martin, Roger, James, and Command. Boop-a-doop, boop-a-doop-a-doop, boop, boop. Shoopity, shoopity, woobity, whoop. Boop-a-doop-a-doop, boop. Shoop. Later, Gator, Emily, Gerdo-san. Oh, goodbye, everyone.